No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
All right, everybody. Welcome, all of my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts to the Let's Get Growing show right here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today here, and we've got to have some kind of a show for you today. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be some kind of a show, that's for sure. We're just testing some things right now. We've got our good friend Marc Boucher-Colbert. He's on location right now at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, because that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk a bit about the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. Marc actually did some little correspondent work for us yesterday. He filmed some clips all around the show showing us a few different things. So I got a little segment here to play here in just a couple of minutes of Marc going around the show. And like I said, he's currently there right now. He's hanging on in the wings. We'll get him on after our segment here in just a little bit with him, and then we'll see if we can't get a hold of him live. And hopefully the Wi-Fi there at the location can hold on and keep Marc with us long enough so that we could talk with him all about his fun and exciting weekend there up in Seattle at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. We do also have coming up here just a little bit later on the show as well, our good friend Wendi Phan from Wendi Land is going to be here with us as well too. She was at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show a little bit earlier. She just got back in late last night, back home late last night. So she's back in Los Angeles now. We actually tried yesterday. So this is part of this some kind of a show we're going to have today, but we tried to film something with her yesterday. We couldn't quite get it figured out or whatever. So I just said, hey, you know what? You're back home. Come join with us live. We'll talk all about your experience at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. This was her very first show, and she was invited as a speaker. So we'll talk to her all about what she talked to everybody about. We'll discuss all of her experience and all of that, as well as, like I said, catch up with our good friend Marc here in just a few minutes from the show. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll get the chance to talk to him about it all, but maybe we'll get a chance to look around a little bit live too, all depending on how everything works out here too, with because we're relying on some really wonky Wi-Fi downtown Seattle in a big old building there too. So there's buildings everywhere. And it was quite an issue yesterday. Like I said, with Wendi trying to get something set up and recorded. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is a live show. We're just going to have fun. And everybody, thank you so much for being here with us today. And so if you are here today with us, definitely click that like button. Hit that like button, click the thumbs up, hit the subscribe as well as the bell notification so you can be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams and all of that. And then definitely share with all of your friends, all of your garden groups, all of your garden clubs, all of those places out there where you got and know all of those other great gardeners who might really enjoy some great fun weekend gardening conversation. Definitely share with them about the Let's Get Growing show. We are here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, like I said, we got a really great show. Definitely share with all of your friends. If you're joining with us here on the replay, big huge shout out to you for sure. Thank you so much for joining with us on your time and hanging out with us here. And I love to hear from all of you. So definitely down in the comment section below, jump down there. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know if you got any suggestions or any possible guests you would like to see on the show. I definitely love to interview some gardeners that you really enjoy following. So definitely let me know about those suggestions as well down in the comment section as well down below. And again, thank you so much. And again, to click if you're joining on the replay, click that thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. I really, really appreciate all of that from all of you, and I love hearing from you. So thank you so much. If you are here joining with us live, though, and you do have a question or comment, definitely jump into our chat right now. Jump into the chat there with any of your questions or comments. And if you do have any questions, definitely put those in big, bold, capital letters so that I can see those and see them from the regular conversation that you're all having in the chat. I can see everybody's already chatting away there, having a great time today. Again, one of the fun things that we also get to do here at the Let's Get Growing show is get to hang out all together, you know, and you guys really have these just really wonderful, fun conversations while we're having the show here. But again, like I said, if you do have some questions, and I do encourage them to drop those questions into the chat there. I love to hear them. All right, everybody. All right, one more last thing. Follow the links down below. And I've got lots of links for the rest of our Let's Get Growing social media and all that sort of stuff too as well. So we're going to get moving on today. We've got a really, like I said, we got a really kind of, fun show. We always have a fun show here at the Let's Get Growing show. That's for sure. Number one. But we're going to have kind of an interesting show as well too, to kind of see how things go here with this live feed with our good friend Mark. But before we get with him live here, like I said, he is kind of playing correspondent for us. He spent the day yesterday kind of walking around, checking a few things out for us there at the show. So let's go ahead and check out a little bit of exploring the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. I keep calling it a show. I keep wanting to say a show. It's actually the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. But yeah, a little exploring with our friend NBC at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival.
Hey guys, this is Marc Boucher-Colbert. I'm here as Urban Ag Solutions and with the Urban Gardener here at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. Here's their kind of selfie background, but this year it's kind of weird. It's kind of like this plastic room. I don't totally get it, but here I am. I am proving that I am at the show with this background, and let's go on inside and see what we got going on. I wish I could communicate the smells to you, because that's really one of the most powerful parts of going in the show at first. And literally like a couple of weeks ago, I was having like floral hallucinations as I anticipated the show. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna have those great smells as I go in. Sorry, you can't have them. You can if you come to the show. I guess that's what you gotta do, right? All right, we'll go inside and we'll see what's going on in there. Hey guys, so I just got into the show. This is the amazing world that greets you. Huge displays, yes, full towering trees. There's a totem pole there, all kinds of lodges, I mean, enormous rocks. This place at the Seattle Convention Center sees literally tons of materials moved in. Apparently the creators of these amazing display gardens in the main space have about 4 days when they can move stuff in with forklifts and trucks and cranes even, I've heard. Literally there's gigantic rocks. Some creators make waterfalls. They're building full-on buildings in here. It's just amazing. And so this display garden is really one of the reasons why I always come. It's so amazing to see the creativity in here. I'm gonna wander around tomorrow live on the Urban Gardeners Let's Get Growing. So hopefully you'll catch a little of that, but we'll do a few highlights now. Hey guys, here at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, one of the things I enjoy the most are the vendor booths, when you can go around and just take advantage of a wide range of garden-related products. Some are art, some are, $30,000 greenhouses, garden tools, all kinds of stuff. I have brought, oh my God, I'm gonna flash the cash. I brought $300, so I'm gonna get to have some fun. I'm here for 3 days, so the way I usually do it is I cruise the booths for a day or two, and then I swoop down on Sunday, the last day of the show, when I have my car here. So there's plants to buy, there's tools to buy. I'm gonna have a hard time restraining myself, but I've got that fixed limit of $300, so I'm good. Not gonna go beyond that. I promise. Promise. So one of the things the show has been adding more is some live music. So this is really fun to be in these amazing garden settings. And here's a little trio, kind of classical, different regional music. These guys sound a little Argentinian right now. This is fun to be in this beautiful environment with live music going on. I'm here at the show, Marc Boucher-Colbert. Here is Abby from Brightscape Design or Brightscape
Landscape Company.
Thank you for clarifying that. So she installed this beautiful display here, and let's just get a few details of what this is about. When did you start? This was bare floor on what day?
Yeah, on Saturday morning. We got here at 11 a.m. That was our load-in time.
Okay.
And there was nothing here except a chalk line.
Chalk line.
Of where we could work.
How big is the space?
This one's 25 by 30.
25 by 30, okay.
So not very big, but it looks pretty big.
And look at, yeah, right, so completely flat. You built it up, built the wall. Tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, so the secret to the whole thing is that there are a bunch of stacked pallets under all of it.
Okay,
So
right.
We've got...
These are the tricks of the trade,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's a stacked platform of pallets up here and over here. And then thank God for forklifts and bucket loaders, because they're buzzing around the floor all weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Bringing in these gigantic 22-foot tall trees.
What do we have here?
This is a salix. This is a weeping willow.
Wow, that's 22 feet tall.
Yeah, and
Oh.
the root ball is right about here at my hip.
Okay.
So it was a beast to get in here, but so once we get all the framing built, it's not going to pass any code inspections. But once we get the basic structure built, then fortunately there are huge mountains of mulch and sawdust across the way.
Wow.
And they bring them over here to us in bucket truck loaders, a dump at a time, and we just kind of shovel it in there. Until
Did you mock this out anywhere in any warehouse space or something, or this is the first time it's ever been done?
Kate gave us a drawing.
Yeah.
And that's what we went with.
That is fascinating. So you get in on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I heard there's judging on Tuesday.
Tuesday at noon is judging, so we had till about 11 to hurry around and fuss and wash and tidy up everything. And
Right.
That's it.
And then the show opens on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you
been
for
a bum rush.
That's a fascinating process. Thanks for detailing it for us.
For sure. Nice to
Okay.
meet you.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, so I'm here at one of the display gardens. I'm going to show you this really cool wall system called Gabion that uses some kind of a metal cage and puts stones in it, forms a great retaining wall. Here we have a beautiful little succulent garden that's sitting on top of that. Look at how beautiful that is. These are old milk crates. Just love this kind of stuff at the show. You get a lot of these really cool little construction details. So that's one of the things that keeps me coming back to this show. Here I am at the booth of Owen's Gardens, which specializes in tillandsias, these air plants, all kinds. You know, there's so many booths of people selling plants and so many specialists. There's carnivorous plants, there's, well, these aren't plants, but there's all kinds of fungi kits. Then there's, you know, things like this. There's orchids. There's just everybody's selling plants here. Of course, this is the Seattle Flower and Garden Show. So all kinds of plants, including all these specialized selections. Probably hard to find anywhere else, and there's always a show special. That's the cool thing. So even if you could find them somewhere else, you'd probably get them cheaper here. So one of the fun things about the show is these little mini exhibits that are in this beautiful atrium space here that spans a couple of the exhibition halls, and actually I think goes over Pike Street in Seattle down below. So anyway, this is a cute one. Birds City Migration. So it's got some original art. It's got some artistic little birds suspended. These are sort of like little vignette gardens. They're more like 5x10s, little outdoor spaces. So as you pass through from one exhibit hall to the next, each side is lined with these little vignette gardens or little mini story gardens here. They're just have one little theme, and mostly like outdoor living, something about outdoor living. They're cute, they're inspiring, they're fun. Books and gardening, what would we be without our books? Certainly, Enoch and I are bully on books because we have our monthly garden book group. But I love coming down here, wandering down in the bookstore that's just outside of the conference rooms. Oftentimes they'll have authors come out and do book signings of a book that they've just been talking about. And then it's just a great place to browse around, get some new ideas, to lighten your wallet a little bit, but to increase the weight of your.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Oh my. Let me see if we can't get this fixed here. See what happened. I don't want to miss the end of what, like I said, we are really kind of floating along with our technology today for this show. That is definitely for sure. So let's see what I can do here. I want to do that. We are going to play around here and see if we can do that so I can get the very end there of that segment. It was a really good segment. Mark put some good time into it. Let's make sure that we play this thing all the way through. Again, we're just, I got to get this issue figured out here. So I don't know. We were somewhere in this area right about here, maybe a little before, maybe a little after. I'm not sure. But let's see what happens here.
Bookstore. There's a couple of different booksellers here at the show, and I just love visiting them all, and I always patronize them to some extent or other. It's great. There's never enough knowledge, right? There's never enough books. Guys, I'm down in the lower level of the Seattle Convention Center. This is where all the brainy work happens. There is, see these big rosters? These list ongoing, sometimes concurrent sets of talks in 3 different rooms that are happening all day by various experts in plant science, everything from plant science, landscape design, flower arranging, anything garden related. So these are people who have usually written a book or have some expertise in their field. Let's just walk into the room right now where I think one's going on. This is the Rainier room. Well, actually, it's not going on. But literally can seat hundreds. Every once in a while, a speaker, 1 or 2 speakers can fill a whole room like this. But often there's hundreds of people in here just listening to some aspect of design. And pardon me, you can come in here for like the 5-day show costs something like $80. You could literally take classes all day, and it would be like you'd been to a university all in 5 days. So it's just one of the truly amazing parts of the show. Highly recommended. Get down here and learn something.
All right. That was a great job by Mark there, walking around and taking some good highlights of the Northwest Flower and Garden Show festival this year here, 2025. Man, I'm telling you, I'm really, really bummed. I'm supposed to be there. That's why this show is what it is. This is all just kind of thrown together almost last minute because we were supposed to be doing some live streams ourselves from the show. I mean, this is just something else. But anyways, we are so fortunate and lucky to have our good friend Marc Boucher-Colbert there for us. And we're going to join with him in just 1 minute or so here. I did real quick wanted to again thank all of you who are joining with us live here on the show. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's always great to hang out with you here on the Let's Get Growing show. Let's jump into the chat real quick and say hi to some of our viewers this weekend. And I know everybody, so there were several in kind of nice and early. That's something I've been noticing lately too, is people getting in nice and early before the show and getting the chat started. But we had David from Bowtie Life in the Garden. Great to see you, David. Thank you for joining me here. Thanks for the phone conversation today or this week. So really great to see you here on the show. Janet, thank you so much. Good afternoon to you. Awesome to have you here on the show. You see Beck saying Viking tribe, me and my curiosity followed you all here, but can't stay so long. Well, that's okay. You can come back sometime, though. Sounds like a good one, though. Well, we're going to try our best, and so far, so good. Just a little bit of a problem there in the middle of that feature, but it was still a really great feature by our good friend Marc Boucher-Colbert, MBC. Meyer Lemons, hey there. Great to see you. Rick, joining us always from the future, nice and bright and early there in Australia. Thank you, Rick, for joining with us. We've got Adam in the chat. Hello, everyone from Central Point, just right up the road from me, right here in Southern Oregon. Good to see you, Adam. And Big Will Dog in the soil. Venice Weeks saying good morning from Townsville, North Queensland, Australia. Another one getting up nice, bright, and early there from the future. Thanks, Venice, for joining with us here from Australia. Awesome to see you. Bowtie says, yeah, today will be fascinating. We will get to see the biggest test of a live show. It's been a test so far. David, hasn't it? For sure. Rob's Allotment Gardening joining us from all the way over in the UK as well, over on the other side of the planet. Thank you, Rob, for hanging out with us. It's the evening time over there for Rob. Thank you for joining with us here, DLR 978. Good to see you. Moby is sneaking into the conversation. And we've got Steam Puzzle. Robert, right on, man. Great to see you. Nathan as well. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Shawnee, great to see you again, too, as well. Thank you. Mobius says, the great spring thaw has begun here. Snow coming off a steel roof sounds like a freight train. Also, it upsets the dog. I bet it does, man. You get some heavy things hitting some metal roofs. That can get really loud, I'm sure. Jersey Girl, awesome. Thank you for being here. And of course, I see here Jay got her comment in just a little bit later in the conversation, but we always want to make sure we're saying thanks to Jay for everything that she does in our chat and conversation there. Thank you, Jay, for being here all the way from Midwestern Ontario, Canada. Excellent. Jersey Girl says, I was wondering if this is the show that the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival, if it's the one that comes to Philadelphia. It looks the same. I have heard, and I'm not sure, maybe Mark knows, I'm not sure. We'll ask. But I heard something that maybe they are, or even work together, whoever the two different people are, or if they're the same company that puts together each show. But it is, and I know the Philadelphia show is, again, too, one of the other largest garden shows really in the country. Seattle's one of the biggest as well. So it would make sense that they would be working together in some sort of way too. DLR8 says Minneapolis Home and Garden show is March 5th through 9th for folks in the Minneapolis area there too. Haven't been to one before, so I can say if it looks exciting or not. Okay, yeah, well, let us know too after you go and check it out, if you get a chance to go check it out. It is that season for garden shows coming up. That's one of the things that makes the Seattle show so great, is that it's one of the earliest ones of the year. Darth X joining the conversation. I haven't been to Seattle since I was a kid. Oh man, Seattle's actually basically my hometown. Washington State's pretty much my home state when it comes down to it. And yeah, so just really, I really love Seattle. It's a little rainy and wet for me, especially this time of year. I'm sure it's pretty rainy and wet up there right now, but definitely love getting back to visit and see what's going on with festivals and all that sort of stuff as well too. Let's see here. And again too, I see popping seeds in the chat there as well too. Excellent. Great to have you all again. Thank you so much for joining with us here. Again, let's right now, I'm going to give Mark a moment here. Get ready here as I'm going to go ahead And I know everybody's chatting there, and I'm sorry if I'm missing anything. And if I'm missing any questions or anything that you might have already put into the chat, like I said, we're kind of freewheeling right now. If I've missed anything, put your questions or anything, drop them back into the chat real quick if you could. I'm really sorry about that. If I did miss any questions or comments that you wanted to see, I'll try to keep an eye out real quick here, though. But it's about time for us to go and meet up with our good friend Marc Boucher-Colbert. He's joining with us here at the or up in Seattle, like I said, at the Flower and Garden Show. I just want to make sure I got this right here. Yep. And then this here, and let's get Marc on the show right now. There he is.
Hey, Enoch, how are you?
All right. Let's hope this connection works out here. So far, I can hear you all right.
I had to ditch the convention center's Wi-Fi because it was terrible. So I'm on with just my regular service. So I think we're going to be good here.
Okay, good. Hopefully, because like I said, we were having all those issues yesterday. Oh no, it looks like I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
No, I hear you. I see you. Well, actually, you are frozen.
Oh my gosh, what's going on with my camera now? Oh, I'm telling you, this is it. Can everybody hear me real quick? You can hear me, Marc, right?
I can hear you, Enoch. Yep.
Okay. All right, real quick. Teach Treat says, yes, I am froze. Jay says, I sound okay, but of course, I'm frozen. And hey, that's not a bad freeze shot, though.
No, I know. It's kind of a handsome pose. You could use that as your screenshot there.
That's not a bad free shot. You know what I mean? Rob says sound is good. Shawty says sound is good, but we got a frozen shot here. I don't know. Again, too, I'm having technical issues on my side. It looks like the ones we were worrying about with Marc over on his side seem to be okay right now. Marc, what I'm going to end up doing here real quick is I'm going to pull myself out, which is going to leave you to the audience real quick here. So maybe what you could do is spend a minute or two while I try to figure out my side here real quick and tell everybody about this experience so far. We all just got to watch your clips from yesterday. So maybe you can expound on them a little bit, tell everybody how fun it's been so far, and then I'll try to jump in with you here in just a minute.
Absolutely. Well, welcome everybody to the 2025 Northwest Flower and Garden Show here in the Seattle Convention Center. It is just amazing to be here. There are hundreds of people milling around. Saturday is probably their biggest day. It's been running for 5 days. The organizers and some of the landscape artists have been here about 10 days setting up these incredible display gardens. There's I'm in the giant main hall right now where all the display gardens are. These are like 30 by 30 immersive landscapes of varying themes, really interesting. The designers are right there, so you can talk to them. You can ask them questions about plants, about their process, the whole thing. It's really great. And then there's all kinds of other places to explore. As you saw in some of my shorts, there's a couple of big, huge halls that are dedicated to commerce and all these wonderful products for gardening. So you can go check out what's going on. You can get plants and plant material, seeds, all kinds of stuff. Downstairs, as I said, are the expo rooms, the conference rooms. I'm going to walk around as I go here so you can just get to see some of these backgrounds. You'll see buildings, you'll see big trees, you'll see artistry. I just got to meet Kim Stoddard, which was really wonderful. She's going to be our guest. In fact, I see her over there, so I'm actually going to go over. Kim Stoddard is going to be our next guest on our monthly garden book group. So I'm gonna hang out right near her until she's done her photo shoot, and then get her on for a second. So this is the kind of thing you get all kinds of national authors. Well, Kim's actually from Britain. She was here giving a talk and doing one of the dig-offs, and they kind of have these competitions where they pit garden people against each other. That's another fun part of the show. There's these creative contests to create container gardening. I think she's actually busy shooting content. So let's see if we get her in the background. See that person with the red hair? Yeah, that's Kim Stoddard. She's going to be our guest on our next show. There she is, Kim Stoddard. climate resilient vegetable garden. We're going to talk to her in like 3 weeks. Hi, Kim. So anyway, that's super fun. It was super fun to see Kim there. Let me show you this design. This is a great one. This one's called Zone 9. It's really focused on kind of warmer climates. There's a lot of interesting emphasis this year on climatic change. The guy behind me there, I was kind of the exhibit in front of and behind me has evergreen oaks, a whole collection of evergreen oaks that will, are thriving at a zone or two south of us here in the Pacific Northwest. But as climate changes, they may be making a move back and much more suitable as landscaping trees. So there's a lot of forward thinking going on. There's some people trying to model the future, even as they're modeling beautiful landscapes. Oh, there's a colorful one over here, kind of a New Orleans inspired garden. So let's go check that out. Anyway, this is, did I already say it? This is like Disneyland. This is like summer camp for gardeners, whatever. You just come up here, you have a grand old time. You learn a lot, you meet some great folks. Look at that beautiful little cottage there. Isn't that fun? With lots of gold. Get people who take from different angles. Some are looking for a real serene view. Some are looking for a lot of color, action. There's some great artisans here too. People have set up their art. They're selling. They're sometimes doing it right there in front of you. That's really awesome. So it's a bonanza. It's an extravaganza. I can't find enough superlatives. If wherever you live, you should definitely get yourself to your local garden show, whatever it is. But as Enoch mentioned, this is one of the best ones in the States. I'm going to sit down here for a minute and get out of the
Yeah, absolutely. Take a seat there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right. Can everybody else hear me? This is the big question. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but again, too, things are always kind of an issue.
Well,
when
you're
you're doing
frozen,
live streams. All right. Well, I hope.
Enoch, wave your right hand so we can tell you're not frozen. There we go. Yeah, good.
Okay. Audio's good. Video good. I don't know. Poppin' Seed was saying glitching, so I don't know. We'll see. Okay, Papa Seeds better give me a thumbs up too. Excellent. Thumbs up.
Another thing I've been doing is casing the bookstores, looking for great titles for our upcoming monthly garden book group selection. So that's really fun too, to just have hundreds of books at my disposal all at once. And in about an hour, I'm going to go see Cisco Morris, who's like the local garden hero. He's giving a talk. We had him on in July, I think, last July. So that was really great. It would be great to reconnect with him again.
Yeah. And I was going to say, Mark, that during your segment earlier that you filmed, you walked into that auditorium there, and it had all the empty seats there. And the thing about Cisco, and he's been a guest a couple of times on our book club last July, like Mark said, and everything. But Mark and I have gone to see Cisco talk in that very room a couple of times, and it was standing room only with people lining the walls around it in order to watch Cisco speak, there too. So to kind of show what kind of an attraction he is in the Northwest, that's the type of attraction he is in the Northwest. He packs that room, and he's such a great speaker. So again, hopefully you do get a chance to talk to him in just a little bit as well too.
Yeah, he when the first time I ever saw Cisco was here. The first time I got to listen to one of his talks. And here's a funny story. He handed out a slide sheet with like 200 slides with plant names, Latin names, plants he was going to get through in his 1 hour talk. Well, by the end of the thing, he had only gotten through the first 15, and just everyone is busting a gut. We're all laughing like crazy. And he just had a sort of a devil may care attitude at the end. He's like, oh, well, the rest of them, you'll just have to look up yourself.
That's right.
Oh man,
He's so great. Fun. He's such a great, funny, great storyteller, just a wonderful personality, and he's definitely a Northwest treasure when it comes down to it. And hopefully we'll get him back on the show here again soon too as well. I really like to make sure we get him back as regularly as we possibly can, because he's got so many wonderful stories to tell. But again, too, also awesome too, because I know that was another part of your mission this year going up to the Flower and Garden Festival, was to peruse those books, keeping an eye out for some of those authors that we could possibly get for our really amazing book club that we have here on the Let's Get Growing show, Sunday edition, third Sundays of the month. And as I just saw too, as I was preparing to get back on here, I saw that you did get to run into Kim Stoddart there just a minute ago.
Yeah, that was crazy.
She's our feature book for this next this March. So yeah, that's awesome.
You know, she has that bright red hair, so it's super easy to identify her. So that really helped.
Yeah. Here, let me actually put this up real quick. Yeah, there she is for everybody. Our book club for this next month, Kim Stoddart. She's there at the festival too. Another fun thing about doing that too is you get to rub shoulders with some of these other folks who are out there in the gardening community, and authors and other people, personalities like Cisco and everything. So it's just really is another fun part of the show.
You know, I this year I'm up here for 3 days. I really like to come a number of days in a row, because it's kind of like going to an art gallery. You can't see everything all at once. It's very tiring to walk around for like 7 or 8 hours and try to just take in stuff. So, you know, you need to build in some breaks. This is kind of like show strategy. Okay. So this is like, if you're planning on going to a show, try to go for more than 1 day. Go back again.
Yeah.
You notice certain details more. Even some of these big floor designs. I mean, I've walked around for hours, but I'm still noticing things. And I really love. And then on the last day, I kind of, tomorrow's my buying day. So I'm also like restrained.
That's when Mark starts taking that $300 he showed us in his thing there, and he starts loading his arms up with everything, trying to get it all out to where he needs to get back home.
That money's gonna flow right out of my wallet tomorrow. I know it.
I know, that's great.
Yeah, but having a budget is a really smart idea when you come to a garden show too. So that's another tip. Just decide in advance how much you can afford to spend, and then stop there, because there is no limit to the number of cool things that are here. Plants, tools, books, even some art. You get gifts for people. You're like, oh my God, so-and-so would love that. Oh, so-and-so would love that. And pretty soon you're like hundreds of dollars deep in a hole. So be careful.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Right on. Excellent. And again, too, you know, and let's do this here real quick. Let's continue the conversation here real quick, Mark, and then in just a few minutes, maybe we can take another little look around or whatever. But we do have I have another guest with us today. And again, like you're saying, you just saw Kim Stoddart there, though. Also, you did get to run into someone yesterday who's a great friend of the Let's Get Growing show. And that was pretty fun. You got to hang out with our friend Wendi Phan from Wendi Land there.
I know, that was weird, because you know, we were trying to connect, and you were trying to connect us up, and I was standing out in the lobby. And then, you know, I've seen her on some of your programs. So in the midst of all this, like, well, how am I going to find her in this giant crowd? All of a sudden, there comes this familiar looking person walking up into the show. I'm like, oh, that's Wendi. There we go. We just met each other. It's no effort at all.
Exactly. Right on. Well, luckily for us, and as I was telling everybody just a little bit earlier, we were having issues again, Wi-Fi, signals, all that sort of stuff, to try to record a segment yesterday with Wendi, because she was there for the first couple of days of the show. You're there for the last couple of days of the show. So it was going to be kind of fun to have a little bit with both of you there. But we had a problem with getting that segment recorded. So I, reached out, and I basically, well, I didn't really beg, but I was like, hey, Wendi, I know you're back home in LA. could you jump on with us a little bit here for our Northwest Flower Garden Show and talk about your experience? And also, too, I know Wendi had some fun getting back home last night, too, so maybe we'll touch on that with a little her here. So she is waiting right here in the background. Let's pop her on to the show. I just got to make sure we've got our 3 on. And there's our friend Wendi.
Hello.
How are you doing, Wendi? There
Hey,
you are.
Wendi.
How are you? Hi.
You made it
Mark.
back.
Thank
Hi.
you. Yeah, so hilarious. I just walked up and it was like, I don't know, I saw you standing. You're like, oh, there she is, or something, and I'm like, are you talking about me?
Yeah, because I was
I was cool
I
with
was
my
on the
little
phone
tea,
with
my
you,
cup of
Enid.
tea, and
Yeah, you were on the phone with me, Mark, and you were
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, I think I see her right there.
So that was crazy.
what are the odds
Right
of
up.
that, right? Yeah.
Right.
Like, I guess we have to shoot this.
Wendy, you
Yeah,
caught
yeah,
your
I-
flight successfully, I guess. You got there on time.
I did. I did. I always like to go by what their recommended ideal time is, but then I start to kind of push it from there. Yeah, a little bit of an issue in Vegas when I got there, but I made it home.
Yeah.
I made it home the same night, so
Yeah,
that's all I could
I
ask for.
know.
You
Yeah,
were packing a lot into that last hour of the show. You were running around trying to get all kinds of connections and content made.
Yeah, for sure. Because the whole time I was there, first of all, hello to everybody.
hello, Wendi. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Yes, it was really hectic, but it was a lot of fun. So, you keep running into people and meeting new people, talking. So I barely caught like enough content for myself, for my own channel.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of focused on more just shooting like shorts, bits and pieces, and I'll figure out how to piece them together. And so that's why Mark was able to be so helpful to be the camera person at the very end, because I was like, my alarm was like rang like 40 minutes ago, where I really should have left and to the airport.
No.
Yeah, so I was just like pushing, like ignore. We're just gonna have to finish this up and then try to hop on with Enoch. And yeah, and then just like last minute people I needed to say goodbye to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's a bigger, busier airport like Seattle, and you can maybe push. Yeah,
it helps.
You can kind of push a few minutes in an airport like that. But yeah, you don't want to test it too much though either.
Yeah, it's because like I have electric. What do you call it now? Like
we got someone waving in the background behind you, Mark.
Stuff like that. Photobombing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes like just in case I have to make extra time for those sort of things.
Right on. Excellent. So Wendi, this was your very first. Me and Mark have been to the Flower and Garden Show a couple of times. I've been one time previous, before I met Mark. So I've been there a few different times. Mark's been there almost every year. This is his
I've been there
his
like
big
8 or
thing.
9 times for the last 10. Out of the last 10 years, I probably came 8 or 9 times. I love this place.
Yeah. Sort of like Wendi and I when it comes to the heirloom exposition. I've been there so many times over the last 10 years, but
this was your first time you went? The expo, the heirloom expo?
For me?
Yeah. Was it like your first time? Is that where we met? Is on your first visit?
No, I think that was my second.
Oh, okay.
I went 1 year. I went the 1 year before, didn't really film much of anything, and then I filmed the next year, and that's when I met you, when I was filming that first year. So that was my first year filming the channel, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember hopping on with your live thing.
Yeah, I think that was 2017, I think. But yeah, anyways, though.
Yep. Anyway.
Right. Back in the days, Santa Rosa, Northern California. But this is your first time, not your first time in Seattle, but your first time at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. Tell us how this kind of came about and what you went there to talk about.
Yeah, so I've collaborated with Great Grow Along, for the past few years. That's like an online huge festival. In fact, they are like working on bringing it more to like a live event now. This year, they just started doing that. And so, they were, yeah, so I just kind of, got involved with this show and asked me what I would like to talk about, and small space gardening has been, I guess, my thing. I didn't realize it was, but you kind of put out different content and see how, I guess, what the audience resonates with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm very
And that's kind of where you landed, right?
exactly where I was landed, exactly. And I've been very fortunate. I feel very fortunate that I was, invited to the show this way. So
Yeah, it's been really great. And again, I've been following your channel for a long time, and ultimately, when it comes to small space, learning about growing or maximizing small spaces, I'm sorry, you put out some of the best content when it comes down to it. So there's definitely
thank you.
reason for them to call on you and ask you to come to Seattle to talk about that. Because if anybody watches your videos and sees what you do with your space, that's just, it just makes too much sense.
If there's I say when there's a will, there's a way. It's just you just try to find solutions, and some things may not work, and then you just try it again. Like just thinking outside the box.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
all about playing with.
Yesterday we were having it. Wendy and I were talking about rooftop gardening because she's about to embark on a rooftop garden adventure, and that's near and dear to my heart. So that was fun to hear.
Really excited about.
But you'll have to call on Mark and get some advice when you start getting things going up there, like really going.
Yep, I'll do that. I'll do that in spring after I get back.
Yeah, that's how I met Mark all the way back in those probably the same year I met you, man.
That's how you were encouraged to grow on your roof.
Well, I'd already been growing on my roof. That's actually that's how I was actually encouraged to find someone like Mark, actually, because I was already growing on my rooftop.
Did you grow on your rooftop, Mark? Or I think you mentioned something about clients or something.
I grow on the rooftop of the Noble Rot restaurant in Portland.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. It's a nice big 4-story building downtown Portland, Oregon, and he's got just an amazing garden up there. I don't know if Jay wants to go back to my early videos or whatever. Maybe she can pop in a link or something like that of when I first met Mark up on the rooftop of Noble Rot.
Oh, so cool.
But no, that was a fun adventure. Those were the early days of me, my first year doing the channel. And again, which really makes sense having both of you here together and finally getting to meet. You're both kind of some of the first people I got to meet in the gardening community as I was making all of this stuff and building up to all of this stuff. So it's really wonderful to see that you guys got to meet in person as well, even though I didn't get to be there in person to introduce you. So
it's okay.
And fun enough too, though, that you guys can recognize each other from being on the show and in my channel too. Anyway, so
well, it is cool, in this virtual world of ours. It's still great to meet face to face, man. There's nothing like the face to face, and then that sort of cements, like Enoch, you and I. We've had plenty of times together and done some live stuff together, and then it just helps the online stuff go so smooth because you just really kind of have a feeling like you know the person better than just if you're meeting on a screen.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's definitely something that online can't replace.
Yeah, it was kind of special to meet Kim today too, and just have just be able to shake her hand and say, hey, we're gonna talk across 2 continents. 3 weeks, but here we are saying hi to each other face to face. That's really cool.
Have you had a chance? Have you been keeping an eye out for Ellen Zakos, our first book? She's there somewhere.
I haven't been hanging downstairs too much for the speakers thing. I am just trying to see if I pass her here or there, but I haven't seen her yet. Yeah, that would be cool if I saw her.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was saying to Wendy yesterday as I was messaging her too. It's really just kind of bummed out. Like I said, it's going to be a while before I'll recover from not being able to be up at that show. And a lot of it comes down to the fact of what we're just talking about is getting to meet a lot of these people in person. There's several authors we've gotten to interview, several people we've gotten to have on the show here in the past that I was just really looking forward to be able to meet in person. Is there anybody, Wendy, that you got to meet in person there at the show that either you were looking forward to or just kind of happened that
Riz has apparently, he's like a horticulturist and he's been going to the show, like he kind of grew up with the show apparently. Like yeah, everybody knows who he is. He's local, to Seattle area. And
Yeah.
and I started following him because he had like these really beautiful, like exotic and like native species. Like he was like playing around with foraging them and like doing really beautiful displays with them.
Yeah.
So I guess, yes, somehow down along the road, we started following each other. So it was really cool that I could, like we met in person. So that was really cool. And he took me
Yeah.
off this like off-road thing just for a couple hours to see the botanical because,
Botanic
the
Gardens.
PC Bay was, near Washington University. Yeah, because like I was just really intrigued and by like all the smells, like overwhelmed by the bouquet he put together. So yeah, and
Yeah.
so
That's
that was
great.
really cool experience. Yep. And then I did meet Kim, you
Yeah.
guys were talking about. As
Oh,
soon
you
as we
met
like
Kim?
added each, I met Kim, and
Yeah.
as soon as we added each other, I was like, oh, I saw your mutual, Enoch is one of the mutual friends.
Oh man, see now both of you guys have met Kim. I really wanted to meet Kim. I heard
I
she's
met
really
Kim
great.
on your behalf.
Oh, perfect. Exactly. I'm gonna get to meet Kim though. I'll just have to do it right
She's
here
very
from my. I'm
cool.
gonna have to
Yeah,
do it
you'll
right here
enjoy
from my
talking to
living
her.
room. But again, so awesome to have you guys there doing that. So again, you were there, Wendy. You were there to do a talk again about small space gardening. You were there also too with
I was there.
the Epic
Epic
Gardening
team. Yeah.
kind of whole
Yeah.
Epic Gardening family group
Yeah,
there
they
as
were
well
all
too,
very,
right? So
so
you got to
cool,
meet
so much fun.
Kevin and Jacques and all of them as well too, right?
Yes, I did. We went to the after party and
Right.
all that stuff. And then they were so sweet at the end because I stayed at a different hotel. They ended up
Right.
walking me back to mine. I was like, I was just going to Uber. You guys don't have to walk
That's
with
nice.
me. That
Right.
was really sweet of them. Yeah. So like every one of them were like just super happy. Like I just feel like, people that work with them are just happy to be there, very genuine, like it's not just a job.
Yes.
Everyone is just like a family. So it was really cool to meet with them. And of course, whatever Kevin says is always like, oh, okay, wow, like certain, he's like also like a business guy. So it's very
Yeah.
cool to also learn something like that from, But anyway, they are all really cool. Jacques, like, he's awesome too.
Yeah.
It is fun.
I'm sure they're just as cool as they are, and this is the biggest thing I find when I meet people and talk to people throughout the gardening creator YouTube community and all of that is that's what makes YouTube so fun, is that it's just these people making videos and stuff. And I'm sure just like everybody else, Kevin and Jacques and all of them are just really great, fun people like they are in their videos and everything too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to, again, another person I wanted to meet was Kevin.
On camera. Yeah,
I
totally.
used to chat with Kevin years ago. We used to actually kind of chat a bit and message and all of that back in the day, when he was, years ago and all of that. But again, too, it'd be fun to catch up with him again at some point in time,
sure.
too.
I hope you do next time. I don't know if he
Yeah.
has like other events or, well, I don't know. It would be like closer to here. It'll still be
someday we'll have him here, right here on the show.
Oh, that's right.
We'll work it out someday.
Someday, for sure. Right. I know he's a busy guy, but you reach out, I'm sure. He's gonna get back to you hopefully this year. Sometime this year we have him on a show.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yep.
Just makes me think that, once you've been to a few of these shows, besides just looking at plants and just looking at all that stuff, you start doing like author sightings and famous gardener sightings. That becomes a whole other level of sport at the show. So that's kind of fun. It's like, oh, there's so-and-so. Oh, there's so-and-so. Oh, there's so-and-so. This is cool. I'm seeing them as real people.
Yeah. Yep. And when you start building that connection, they invite you to go see their gardens,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's how it worked out for me and John Kohler, you as well, Wendy,
Right.
But that was one of the first, like, for me, like, famous in my mind, famous gardeners on YouTube.
You just go there and you're like,
I spent years watching him build this front yard garden and everything. So there was this kind of surreal moment when I was sitting in the middle of it, actually, in real life. And I was like, what? And then I was actually, doing my first video with him and all of that too. So again, that's really fun, like you said, for garden nerds like us to be able to be at a show like that where folks like that are rolling around everywhere, and you can just kind of like, introduce yourself and say hi and all of that as well too. And we all love it too. Again, you know,
Of course,
even folks
yeah.
like John and Kevin and everything, they love that, you know, when you recognize them and say hi and everything. I know
Yeah.
I know I've had really a couple of fun instances with that as well, for just being a small little YouTube channel like myself. I don't know if you remember, Wendy, back, I don't know, it was probably 2018 or something like that, but me and you were talking out at the Heirloom Exposition, maybe filming something or whatever.
Yeah,
And
that's
this
trying
lady,
food.
this lady walks up to us with just the biggest English accent straight from England,
Yes,
and she recognizes
I
Wendy at
remember that.
first. And she just runs up to her, just all giddy, like, Wendy, Wendy, Wendy. Oh my God. And there's just straight British accent. It was the greatest
Yeah, it
thing.
was really cool.
And she was just so thrilled to see Wendy. But the aside to it all was that I'm standing there with
She's
Wendy,
like,
and she kind of looks
"Oh!"
over at me and goes, "You're the urban gardener," in an English accent. And I was like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm done.
Yes, I've
I'm
arrived.
done. I'm done. This is it. I don't have to do anything more." And she did too. She traveled from England to the States.
She
They were doing
did.
something else, and she came and flew over to
It
the
was
West
like
Coast
their
just for the
anniversary or
Heirloom
something.
Expo.
I think it was
Yeah,
like she
yeah.
and her husband celebrating the anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I still
Yeah,
got a
that's just
picture of us. I
special.
still got a picture of us
Do
up in my
you? Yeah.
office from that,
I'm
because
sure
that
it's
was
somewhere
just
on my cloud,
that
somewhere up the
was such a
cloud. But
fun,
send that
special
send that
moment.
picture to me. I'll probably
I'll-
repost it. Such memory. And
yeah.
so funny because
Oh,
I happened to have the Baker Creek hat on. So
oh yeah, that's
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
this is all planned, you know, staged. You know?
Right on, right
when
on.
Enoch's like, "Can you hop on in 10 minutes?" You know.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know, hat, computer.
I don't have time to wash my hair. Bam. You just got it so
Exactly. Jay's teasing in the chat here. Sell autographs. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Huh.
exactly.
of whose?
Right, exactly. I want
I should have
everybody's
collected some.
autograph.
I should have collected some when I was there.
It's
That's
hard,
it.
it's hard for people to autograph a YouTube channel, though, Enoch. You got to write a book.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about shows like that and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm just that type of garden nerd. It's why I've got this kind of channel and show, and love to talk and meet with people and all that sort of stuff, is that, you know, I'm just that type of guy who's like, hey, can I snap a selfie? It's maybe more selfie nowadays than it is asking for the autograph, but I would go for an autograph too if I had like something or whatever as well.
You go back next
Because
year and print a
I
selfie
look
out.
up to so many people in this community. I just think it's great.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
it's really different experience, like you said, you know, like going to connect with someone in person.
Yeah.
The energy is different, right? Or better.
Oh, yeah.
Should I say better rather than
Yeah.
different?
And then again, too, not much different. I always find that the personality, it's like when I meet people, I'm like, oh yeah, they are that person that you
like it
see
matches.
in you see. Yeah, exactly. It's just that difference in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's people are, when you only know them on a television screen, it kind of creates something in our mind that's a little bit different.
Is it a little
So when
more
we get to see
dull?
them in purpose, it's just, I don't know, maybe
Just
I don't know, maybe
different.
that's what accentuates that sort of sense that when you meet somebody who you've watched, like when I met John the first time, I'd watched him for years. I'd only seen him on video,
Yeah.
you know, so I met him in person at first. It was like, oh, wow, oh my gosh, shake my hand, autograph, can you take a picture, you know, that sort of thing, you know, but at the same time, after getting to know him for a little bit, I'm like, oh, he is John Kohler. He's the guy you see in the videos
So he
and all
matches
that sort of stuff.
when he's on
Exactly.
camera.
You
So-
too as well. You know.
I think
And
I'm more
Mark
hyped in
Mark
person.
Wood, for anybody else who gets to meet Mark, you know, if they get to meet him in person
Yeah.
as well too.
Well, nobody's stopped me yet, so I guess I still have a few more degrees of fame to achieve.
We'll get you there, Mark. We'll
After
get you
this
there.
show, Mark, after this show.
That's right. We'll get you there. We're working on it. Mark always knows. Man. I've got plans for him all the time.
Actually,
Big
I
plans.
actually like flying below the radar. I like it, so I don't know if I want to change. So let's keep it low burn.
So Mark's out there wandering around, Wendy. He's showing us some stuff. Hopefully we'll get him a chance to kind of hike around here in a minute or something, maybe see how well the how well the signal will work. Maybe you can show us a little bit more as we move into the
I'm
second.
gonna move toward and I think I can be with you about 5 more minutes, but I'm gonna move toward the big atrium overpass thing, and we'll just have a look at that because the light's really nice in there. So let me get back on the move. My arm's also killing me. I'm holding this thing up with my arm.
You switch
You got a
arms.
really bulky
Switch
arm at
arms.
the end of the
You got to
show.
switch arms.
The other crazy thing is that because I'm holding the phone toward, away from me, and the people don't realize that the camera's toward me, so they like are avoiding me like in this big wide arc. They think I'm
Oh, well, that's good then. That's
People
good.
are
You're
so
getting,
considerate.
like 10 seconds, and I have to gesture them on to
they're
let them know.
partying the seas for you, man. You got to make
exactly.
that's I got to try it. Well, I kind of know that a little bit too as well too when you start going with your phone camera, especially like that.
It's
You're
kind of
like,
funny.
"Oh no, are you shooting me? Are you videoing me?" They don't understand
exactly.
you're on the other side of it, you know.
Luckily, nobody's grabbed my phone and thrown it to the floor, thinking like, "Hey, I didn't give you my permission."
Right on, right on.
No,
Anyways,
but then actually there is a sign outside that said your consent to like being on camera before you enter.
Yeah, that's true for that little bit.
yeah, but when you enter, you consent basically being in that public space. Yeah. Well, that's any
there's so
public
much,
space. That's any public space until they change the
Yes.
Constitution. It's that any
Right.
public space.
But that's not
so
technically
anybody out there.
public space, right? Like this is a private.
See, it's a public space,
I guess that's
but
why they have a sign.
it is the Seattle Convention Center. So the Seattle Convention Center does own that space. So it is private
I
to
see.
them. So that's why they would have that sign.
Yeah.
But it is basically a public space as well, though, too. So like I said, if anybody had a problem there with you filming or anything like that who are in that big space, they'd have to go to the Seattle Convention Center and go and try to see what to deal with that there, because anyways, that's just a filming thing, just a filming thing for
this is so casual
believe us,
nowadays
those of us who
filming.
film out in public, we run into these issues every now and then. People will
and just respect people's space and privacy. If they really say something, I'll just be like, okay, then I'll make sure.
I'll be like, I'll absolutely make sure you're not in, and then if I film a thing and I have someone, I've actually refilmed a couple of little quick things and stuff because someone said something afterwards.
Yeah, like even though you still have the right, but I just it's better just be respectful of what people's comfort zone is. Yeah.
But for the most part, it's
If anybody, to the people who have been coming at me, I'm just telling them my name's Enoch Graham, and that's
exactly. Send them my way. There you go.
Told you got two people on your behalf going.
So I'm in this beautiful space right now.
Yeah, show us around if you can. Is there a way you can flip your camera, maybe walk and show us around a little bit?
Yeah,
that way you don't have to have it so way out in front. You can maybe kind of rest your arms closer.
Yeah, I'll turn it around and I'll walk along both sides, because this area.
Yeah, that's some cool stuff to see there real quick. And then you just walk along the sides there, and then we'll kind of chat along or whatever. I'll ask Wendi a couple more questions, and then after that or whatever we're done, we'll let you go, because we know you got some more of this show to enjoy.
Oh yeah, I got to take it in, man. I got to take it in. All right, let me flip my camera around, and then we'll just
see what we got there. All right.
Lots to see.
All right. So we got Mark on the move there. Yeah, they got this cool thing, the atrium there, which is really this big glass, almost like auditorium way that links the two buildings together, and it goes over Pike Street. So you're basically it's all over Pike Street there.
I see.
And they got all these cool, like you see in there in the background, Mark's. They got these cool little displays of what would basically be like a patio. So this is for like small space. You know what I mean? For people who got the small city spaces.
What small space? That's as big as my garden.
Right. I know you're jealous.
It's a little more deep because mine's only 6 feet. It's just an arm's reach. This is way too wide.
they're like little patios and
it's
just
very
little ideas
cute.
and
It's
kind
very
of cool
charming.
design ideas for what you can do with
Cozy.
little patios and everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an outdoor room or a little bit of a themed garden. They're really fun.
Like
a little miniaturized version of some of the more mega displays on the main floor. It gives other designers a chance to get in, and maybe it's like a way to start in, or like you said, do a little more on a patio theme.
Yeah.
A little like corner tucked, right? Kind of a garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little more contained. It's a little more. It's kind of possible too. You know,
It's an intimate little setting. Yeah.
the big displays. It's like you're not going to be hauling a 30-foot tree or a
No.
$10 sculpture into your garden anytime soon. But you could buy a couple of colorful chairs with some cool pillows, and that
Just
would
put a blanket on and you're ready to snuggle up. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Those are
Cozy.
just yet another part of the show. Just one of the cool parts of the show.
Yeah. Well, right on, Mark. One thing before you go, though, too, maybe I wanted to touch on this. I'm going to talk a little bit more with Wendi about this after we let you go. But real quick, maybe you can say this before you go, because I want to touch on this. Wendi was mentioning this a little bit yesterday, and I didn't want to really. I thought maybe we'll talk about it a little bit here as well, too. This is a wonderful show. You've been going to this show now for, like you said, about 10 years. You've been to a lot of them and everything. Me and you've kind of touched on this subject as well, too. The one thing the show I think really could use a little bit more, and I think you agree a little bit, is more food, more talking about food and food spaces and food gardening and all that sort of stuff. I think we're going to work on that ourselves here a little bit, maybe with some influence on this show as we move forward in the coming years and stuff, and all of that as well too. But is there anything there that you notice kind of on the level of food gardening and all of that while you're there? While you've been there so far?
No, I had an overpriced coffee and a depressing salad at Taco Del Mar in the basement of this place yesterday. So I 100% agree with your food upgrade. You know, there's a couple of like specialty vendors and purveyors.
Oh, well, what I mean more is like for us food gardeners. I'm sorry.
Plants.
That is a great, that is a good point. That is an absolutely good point, though. We should dig in on that for sure. But more like food gardeners, you know what I mean? Like food gardening things, you know, for us gardeners who.
I see. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But no, that is a great point, though, Mark.
You know, there have been over the years, there's been some displays that have centered on like an urban garden space, you know, that maybe they'll have like a living wall with lettuces and a chicken coop. And so occasionally a designer will take that on. But yeah, there's an absence of that. I think part of it is driven by the kind of plants they can get at this time of year. Like what is the nursery stock? What's coming out of the greenhouses?
It is about the time of year a bit, huh?
Yeah. Just can't get corn, zucchini, and tomatoes. It's just not happening. So it's hard to mount that kind of an effort. People can do stuff with lettuce and some maybe like green onions, things they can get from a nursery as starts that they can plug into displays. But I think that's one of the limiting factors. If this were happening in September or August, then it'd be a totally different show, I think.
Yeah, like with the Heirloom Expo, they've got all the harvested fruits we can look at live and all of that. And that does make sense about what they can bring in with live plants and stuff to be able to do that sort of stuff.
You know,
we can think a little bit beyond that and kind of increase the amount of food gardening that they cover there a little bit, though, too.
If they would like,
there's nothing to say that somebody couldn't go out into somebody's fields and dig up a bunch of really nice Brussels sprouts or kale and have those in pots. And bring in you could do a really great edible winter garden display here.
Yeah.
And, maybe Enoch, you and I are the ones who have to just grab the bull by the horns and do it. Just figure out how we can become one of the display gardens.
we can provide them with the veggies, right? Plant starts.
Right. Yeah. That's what, like they say, Mark, right? Be the change you seek, right?
Sometimes you just gotta do it.
Right on, Mark. Well, again, too, we're gonna let you go, Mark. It's been so fun having you there live from the show. Thanks for showing us around a little bit. Thanks for taking your time yesterday to do the little clips and everything and all of that. I think I might even replay it again for those of everybody who's joined with us a little bit later in the show. So I think I'll end the show and replay that nice little 10-minute clip you did for us and everything as well, too.
Yeah. So. And, if people are seeing me twice, maybe they'll finally recognize me. And aren't you that guy on that show?
Yeah. We'll get, like I said, it's coming up next show or two. You're going to get pulled aside for sure. People are going to want their Mark selfies anytime.
Hey, Wendi, it was great to meet you yesterday.
Yeah, likewise.
Real treat. So what a pleasure. And Enoch, always a pleasure to be with you. So enjoy the rest of the day, you guys. And
Thank
Wendy,
you. You enjoyed too.
you got a big trip coming up, so I hope that goes great.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah.
excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we'll have to touch
so
on
glad
that.
I caught you right when I entered. So that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Made it everything easier. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah, yeah. And also, you real quick though, you did help Wendy film some stuff for your channel, Wendy?
For me, yeah, it's gonna be shorts, but he did. Mark helped me out because it was
Right
just
on,
gonna
right
be
on, right
so
on. There
much
you go.
faster that way.
Mark's also a
That's
videographer
luxury when you
now.
have
Right
help.
on. Excellent.
Yeah.
Cameraman Mark.
We'll see
I'll
how
be
it
sure to
came
tag
out.
you. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, Mark.
Have fun,
Well, again,
Mark.
thank you
Enjoy the
so
rest
much.
of the show.
You take
It's
care.
only
You enjoy
halfway
yourself.
there.
Signing off.
All right, all right. Let me get this fixed real quick. Boom. There we go. There we go. Right on, right on. That's so much fun again,
That
too.
was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right on, right on. And like I said, that was again your first time being
My
up
first
there.
year. Yeah.
So that was again a fun first time up there, and sort of like what we were touching on there, just there at the end there with Mark as well too. Maybe not as much food forward thinking as far as a garden show, but they did have you there to talk about a lot of stuff. They had some other folks, and I know they do some things and stuff.
We
Maybe
did.
could increase a little bit more. Maybe it's the time of year, that sort of thing, and all of that when it comes down to it. But
Yeah. Yeah, like I think most of the vendors were more focused on like ornamentals, orchids,
Mhm.
and houseplants. And when I was talking to Riz, or Riz, I can't say his name
Riz.
properly. Riz. Sorry if I butchered your name, but I remember your face. I think that's the important thing. Yeah, like he grew up with the show, ever since he was young. He's been attending it every year, and then he's been a speaker there for the, I don't know, past how many years now. And they said they used to have the show was like with lots of orchids and things, so it's more of like before the whole food movement, people were already going to these kind of shows. So yeah, I think it's always kind of been that way. But with epic gardening in there, others than that, I don't really know of other ones that are really like selling plants, like edible plants. You probably have to like, I spot one that was somewhat edible that I picked up to bring home, but it was like right around with all the house plants and such tropical plants. But epic gardening, they're the brand that shows you how to grow food. They're there now.
And they bring a big presence. They bring a big vegetable food gardening presence to the show, which is, I think, a great movement in that direction. With a little bit more of a push, and we can really get some good emphasis on that sort of stuff there at the show, because it'd be cool to kind of see some of those small space patio things. And that's why I was kind of thinking of it there last minute as he was walking through the atrium there, is they got those little cool, it would be kind of cool to see what you could do with some food. And maybe you can't really put some plants in there, but maybe we can kind of do some mock-ups and kind of do some things to give an idea of what you could do in that sort of sense and all that sort of thing. It would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Because like, I deal with not just small space, but also a lot of shade spots. And I think patios and like nooks and, corner spaces, like those, like very intimate, cozy settings that they've like displayed. Yeah. It has a lot of shade, because that is kind of like the plants they put out there too, like fern and houseplants and hanging pots with lots of greenery and things. And like, I've experimented with a lot of different kinds that does really well in the shade. So I can totally see adding different plants that I have, here, and apply it to that sort of a design. And then there's like kinds that drape over, so it would kind of easily replace those. And edible flowers, and so that was really funny, because I was making sure that, because I was doing a demo for my session, so I asked them what kind of plants they have there. I just want to make sure I had what I needed. So so that's why I ended up bringing some of the ones I grew out, because it didn't sound like they were mentioning that they had much vegetables there. Maybe a few herbs, because like herbs can also be hardy and I guess decorative too, but they didn't have the actual like vegetables.
Perennial and all that.
They had thyme, perennial, exactly. So like I brought in the lettuce and the chards and stuff. I just wanted things that speaks more, like screams vegetable, like really obvious, but then it has to also be showy, because you're demonstrating on stage, it's further away. Although they had a really nice like camera setup where they can like really show on the big screen what you're doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
the pop of color is always really nice, attractive to the audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's great because Epic Gardening is like a food, more of like a food
Yeah, they're a food
driven.
gardening
So
channel. Yeah. So
exactly, yeah. So
mhm,
and then they, of course, they provided, they have seeds there at their booth, you know, and
mhm.
with the
And
veggies.
hopefully we'll be there next year too. I'm really, really wanted to,
Yeah,
it's a bummer I didn't get to
of
get up
course.
there again to do some networking, some things to kind of work on the idea I have for next year, but we're still moving
You'll be
forward
more
with
than,
that.
yeah, you'll be more ready with
So
next year
so
than this.
hopefully everything will be good. We'll really just kind of see what we can do in some other areas as well, and just really kind of raid the show next year and really show that food gardener presence, when it comes to a gardening show. It's really an all around gardening show, talking about all sorts of stuff. So there is a little piece
There
of
is.
everything there.
It
It's
was
just there's really an emphasis basically on design though.
It
It's
is. I
really it's
feel
so you
very
get
much.
did you get to go in through and see some of the real the exhibits that those guys there was a little clip of one of the people who put one together there, and they bring in these big massive trucks, and we're
The
talking
rocks,
loaders and
stones,
rock.
and big trees.
They bring in all of this sort of stuff and make these just beautiful, awesome designs and garden landscape designs right there on this show floor. So
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
got to
they
go
were
back there and
really.
check that out.
I saw some of them. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't spend that much time in a lot of places, but I did see some of them. I was just mostly running around and really connecting with people. Uh, yeah, it was amazing though. Just especially before the show, they were showing on Instagram on that event's IG.
Yeah.
Posting how they were like bringing them in through like big trucks and at the Hallman and just like giant stones and those big trees, and they're sitting in like really big pots. It's amazing. It's like, yeah, they literally brought the outdoors in. Very
Yeah.
themed, very like magazine, what is it called, like those garden design magazine displays, and
Yeah.
like exactly that's what you see in there.
Yeah.
Very beautiful, very, how is it, commercial, very luxurious.
Mhm.
It's different. It's a different vibe, but it's definitely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a place
And
you
I
could
think
dream about.
it really is. And here's the biggest thing though too I'm going to say about that show, which makes it really worth the whole thing. And this is a big thing. It's hard to kind of, and I'm sure for you who's involved with the show and doing other things as well too, it's kind of hard to do that. It's been for me a little bit as well. But if you wanted, Mark mentioned this during his little segment that he did earlier too, is that it's 4 days, and each hour there are like 3 different rooms like the one Mark showed us, with just tons of room, tons of people can get in there, and they've got tons of speakers, all sorts of
Yeah,
authors and garden
a lot of
experts and
authors.
people like that. So
There's like book
the,
signing rooms and such.
yeah. So
Yeah.
really, if what you did was you really planned out to go there to just learn, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like Mark says,
it
it's
is
like
this
going
place.
and getting like a small, short little college courses, and or going and getting some, you know what I mean? As far as if you look at the 3-4 days combined, and if you did some of these like little classes basically throughout those,
Yeah,
you can come away with so much great gardening knowledge, out of that sort of event like that.
they're
And that's what we really truly offer, is just a ton of great gardening knowledge. They're constantly doing what do you call it? Just not necessarily displays, but they're live things where they're putting together like pots and stuff, and just kind of showing people how to do things and all that sort of stuff. So just tons of great knowledge to get out of an event like that.
Yeah, there's a few different seminar rooms, and there's ones for like demo, right? The DIY room or stage. There, I was part of, they call like the main stage. So we did a
Yeah.
lot of like talking and demonstration, and then yeah, there's like showdown, which was like made it really fun.
Yeah, the container showdown thing
Container
they did. Yeah,
showdowns, like
yeah.
something about like either taking someone else's part of their design and trying to change it and incorporate yours, or you can
Yeah,
like
those are fun.
instead you can sing a song. It was just like there's like
Right.
games they were playing. It was really like creative.
Yeah, I think what they get is like a table, and it's got a bunch of different plant starts,
Yeah,
flowers, plants, and different things.
kind of like a
And then
cooking show. Grab your ingredients and
each person gets 2 pots, 2 containers.
yeah.
And they got to go grab things off of this table to put into their container. But then I think they each get like a certain amount of steals too. So if you
I'm
see
not.
something,
Yeah.
so if you see something in someone else's container that you really
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. Right,
you
right,
could
right.
go over and steal something out of their container and put it in your
Yeah, yeah.
container, and they can't take it back. So you gotta, it's kind of like
That's a fun
it's really
game.
fun. So they're just going on and they're trying to build these really cool containers, and then I think the audience votes on it, or
Mm-hmm.
they do something like that in
Mm,
order to see who
I
wins.
see.
But it's really fun.
Yeah,
Lots of, it's part of the fun things that you can get to do there. And if you just love gardening, it's just so those sort of events are just really, really, really fun.
it is very well rounded. Like there was someone else named Mike that I met. He did a demo in like a talk and a demo on how to prune trees and shrubs and things. So he literally like
Right.
hauled like his pruners and like just gardening kind of like trimming tools, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was an instrument. It was huge. It was really like, yeah, it was quite large, but it looked like it had some sort of instrument inside. I'm like, are you playing anything? But he's like, oh, I trimmed the tree or something. It little,
Oh
and
my.
then yeah. So I'm like, oh wow, this space really they cover all aspects of gardening.
Yeah. It's
Food is
really
still
great.
lacking a bit, but
Yeah.
they do
I think
have
that's the thing
pretty much
with
everything.
events in general. I think that was kind of a critique we've had with the heirloom too for the
Especially with
last couple of years.
really. Oh well,
The
no,
I mean, the food vendors, they need to bring more
I
food vendors in.
now I'm still talking about the food plants.
Again. Oh, yeah. I
But
thought you went back to talking about that for
no, but
a
yeah,
part
the
as
food
well. Though.
could
But
have
yeah,
more
yeah.
options.
But yeah, the food.
If you go downstairs, there's those ones that are there year round, like a taco joint and places like that, and
Yeah.
coffee downstairs. But at the actual event, yeah, there's not a whole lot of options.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's just kind of events in general. But again, too, getting caught. I can't believe I went
There's a
down
lot of
that.
stuff with like the licensing and things. I think when you put food involved, so
Yeah.
something
Now,
else.
Mark doesn't have to feel too bad about going that direction earlier, because I did too. No, but I really thought, I don't know. Again, whatever. We're just having fun today on this show. We're having so much
Don't you
fun.
always?
Yeah, we always do. That's right. Absolutely. We always do.
What's new?
What's new around here, right?
Fun or more fun?
Take your pick.
I picked to drink my tea.
Right on, right on. Anyways, so yeah, so that's cool. I mean, again,
Yeah.
too, hopefully, again, you'll get the called back, and Epic will come back again for next year as well, too, and that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah. They were
thing.
the
And
big sponsors of the small space gardening section.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So yeah, that'll be really great to really build up that presence of food gardeners and
Yeah.
and those of us there. And maybe like Mark's saying, it's going to take some kind of maybe creative ideas of how to work that time of year out, just a little
Mhm.
bit, for some of the more visual type of things you would do with a show like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, so I was seeing a question here. Serena, well, I
Yeah.
guess we'll answer this. Serena was asking, does anyone ever enter produce in the county or state fairs or ever won? Anybody in the audience ever done that? I know we've had like Ryan from Heavenly Hills Homestead. He's been on the show before. He's won like just dozens and dozens of state awards. We've had
Wow.
Cindy
Impressive.
Toback on the show. She's won tons of giant awards. So there's been people that I've done. I've never entered anything into a state fair or a contest or anything like that.
Yeah.
Have you, Wendy?
No, it's actually someone I talked to recently kind of made me started thinking about that because we're talking about the loofah that I grow.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, you can totally like, he's like, because yeah, he likes to, I don't know if he actually entered personally, but he mentioned that would be cool and people do that. And I totally forgot about that because I used to go to fairgrounds. What is that
Yeah.
called? Like, no, are they state fair, county fairs? And they have that, right?
Like an LA County Fair.
Yeah, like grow the biggest pumpkin or watermelon or something. And then there's
Right.
like a tasting
I think
part.
I bet you even there would be things that even the fair organizers or whoever does those contests, the organizers of that, I bet you they would be even interested in, or even a display, or even creating a category of unique or you know what I mean, rare type of
Yeah.
things, because you grow a lot of that sort of stuff, so you could probably find ways to
Yeah, I like collecting
get
the
some
rare.
things, maybe even a little kind of like heirloom display or something like that for Wendy Land, you know
Ooh,
what I mean,
yeah.
with some of the things from your garden to kind of show some of those unique things that you could grow, because that's really, really what you specialize in there with your garden.
Yeah, I have this obsession of collecting rare plants.
Yeah, yeah. You
So,
might have to look into that. The LA County Fair. I don't know. They would. Where do they have like a Southern California
it's
State
not
Fair?
that big.
Maybe.
There is. Oh yeah, maybe state fair. Is that different? Because
I'm
I've been
sure
to the
California probably
county
breaks up its
fair.
state fairs.
Maybe it's state fair, but they call it county fair because they break it up that way. Because it is like
Yeah.
once a year. It's big. It's at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, well, I know like up here in Oregon and Washington, we have the difference. You know, there's a smaller county fair that'll happen at a
Oh,
smaller
okay.
county fairgrounds.
Yeah,
And then
I
we
don't
have
know that
like in Washington, it's called the Puyallup up in
Oh,
Washington.
yeah.
There's a
It's a
little
nice.
city down south of Seattle called Puyallup, Washington.
It's a
And
nice.
that's where the
Yeah.
big state fairgrounds are for our
Okay.
state.
Wow.
So it's an even bigger fair for the whole
Mm-hmm.
state. So, and I would
That's
imagine a
cool.
big state like California, if they did have state fairs, they'd probably have like a Northern California
Yeah,
state fair,
it wouldn't be around
Central
here.
California State Fair, and a Southern
Yeah.
California State Fair. But there's probably something like that. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. It'd be
That
fun to
would be
check
really
out.
fun. Yeah, I'll look into it
Yeah,
now that you mentioned,
yeah,
'cause I've always been like aware of county fairs, but not state fairs
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good. Thanks for the question, Serena, for sure. Yeah, and I'd have to look into something maybe too here. Maybe I could get in and try.
Giant
I'm
pumpkin.
gonna actually try. I'm gonna actually try to do another big pumpkin in my
Mm.
alleyway. So I'm gonna,
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
real,
I
so a
remember you were
small
trying to.
space giant pumpkin, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
we'll see how big we can get. Who knows? Maybe I'll try to throw it into it, and what what I'll do is I'll do, because it's only like 8 feet, maybe 8 foot by 8 foot space
Okay, wow.
that we grow
That
up a giant pumpkin in. And mind you, the biggest one I've grown in that space, or up to date when I've tried growing the big ones, the biggest so far is 137 pounds. I'm
wow,
sure at some of these
okay.
I'm sure at the county fairground, we're gonna see some plus 500s and stuff. So if I got something like 130 something again, it wouldn't be the biggest of the big ones there. But if I did do the caveat that it was grown in an 8 foot by 8 foot space, maybe we might get somewhere.
Yeah, label as small
Yep.
space.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shout
Concept
out to
small
all of
space.
us small space gardeners at some of these shows. You know what I mean? Like what we can do in our small spaces, right?
Let's grow one giant pumpkin
Exactly.
and some
Exactly.
veggies around.
Yeah, right on. That's
I don't
just
know if I
great.
wanna trade up my space to grow one thing though. For me, it's a 6. It's not even an 8.
Right.
6
Right.
6 feet.
Yeah. It's really what it is. I kind of call it the show space for my alleyway. So if we just kind of
That's
consider
cool.
consider it a public walkway, which I get a lot of public people who just walk through, check out
Yeah, you have an
such
exhibit,
and
like,
stuff.
going all the
So,
time.
yeah, it's this little space that's kind of like right in the center of, if you're walking, kind of like if you see everything, the rooftop, everything going along the side, and then there's
Mhm.
the alleyway tees up. So it's kind of right there at the tip of that tee, but it's kind of a little showpiece. So if you have a nice big fat pumpkin growing there, and you got and I always have kind of like some sort of squash or pumpkin plant growing. It's
Yeah,
just been a few years since I've done like, say, a Dill's Atlantic or a giant pumpkin seed or whatever in that space. But
very
we grew
cool.
some cool like pie pumpkins a couple years ago, and
Oh,
then
okay.
we tried those. Last year I grew the pumpkin we grew in that space was a seed I got from the Heirloom Expo the year before. And every year they're always showing, because you can get all those from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. But one of their big pumpkins out of the catalog is the Big
Mhm.
Macs. So I
Oh,
did try growing a big one last year. It was a Big Max, but it didn't get that big. In fact,
how
we
how big did it
we
get?
I think it was somewhere around 40
Roughly.
something pounds.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
40,
still
almost around,
I mean,
it's was a
Not
good
giant,
size-
but I mean, for a home garden.
good-sized pumpkin. It was a good sized pumpkin,
Yeah,
but the
sure.
plant was limited. Well, I had massive squash bug problems last year.
Oh,
I got again too. When you're dealing with those type of pests, you got to get on them quick and
sorry.
early. You got to get them on them quick and early. And if you don't, then you end up with issues like I did last year. And then the plant gets so, just beat up by those things that it really inhibits the growth of the fruit in the long run.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's kind of the
Yeah.
risk, and you just have to pray that like nature's going to be on your side too, right?
That's
Other
why
than
those
as much as
big,
you can do. That's
yeah.
part of it is a collaboration with nature and the climate.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why those plants need those big, like a big pumpkin plant like that's going to need big leaves. It needs
Mm-hmm.
big leaves to take in as much of that sunlight as
Mm-hmm.
possible in order to drive as much energy into that fruit to get
Yeah.
it to get as big as possible. So when
Right.
all of your biggest leaves are getting eaten up right from the center of your plant, then yeah, there ain't much you can do about that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Adam dropped in here saying that California State, is it just one state fair though? California State Fair is held in Sacramento, July 11th through 27th,
Thank you, Adam.
2025.
So
So
far
do
from
they,
me.
and it makes sense, it's the capital,
Yeah.
but I would think that they would have different, for
Like
regional parts,
different,
section off
yeah.
California and have different regional state
That's
fairs, but you never know. Maybe it is just one state fair up there in
yeah,
Sacramento.
probably. I guess so.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really hear about it all the way down here. I know of
When
tons
again
of
was
fairs.
that again? Did he say that
July
was?
sometime.
Oh yeah, July.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe you'll have to come up to the state fair in Sacramento. Maybe we'll have to meet up
Yeah.
there.
Let's see how big of a produce section they have.
Yeah.
Our
We'll have
county fair is not that big. Like there's a little
Yeah.
like veggie garden, and then there's a few
Yeah,
produce
maybe we'll have to
and
do that
corn
sometime.
and
Maybe not this year, but maybe in the next year or something like that. Maybe we'll have to do a meetup at the California State Fair there in Sacramento or something, and
go live
then
there.
yeah, do a little urban gardeners, small space gardeners at the county fair and see what we find
Yeah. You can
as far
ask
as
to see if
fruit
there's a
and
booth or
produce and
something.
those
But
gardeners and farmers and things like that. It'd be kind of fun.
yeah.
Right on. Maybe even like I said, put up a table for you. Maybe me too. Who knows? I don't know.
A little exhibit.
I am
going.
talking about, and again too, I was just talking about, and we're working on, and I'll just tell this with everybody, talking about all these different fairs and events. Again, the Heirloom Exposition, my favorite one to go to. Again,
Yep.
really, this is a food gardener's
Dream. Heaven.
this is
Haven,
your event. This
Paradise.
is the event.
Nirvana.
Exactly. It's all so for us food gardeners. This
Yeah.
is like the mecca. Like if food gardening was our religion, the world's fair, world's pure food fair, the National Heirloom Exposition would be our mecca. This is where we all should be. What are they? How they all kind of march or walk or make their way from all over the world, anyways, to Mecca at a certain time of year in order to do their thing. This would be our mecca, is the Heirloom Exposition for food growing gardeners like ourselves.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite event of all time.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, it's just the entire like vibe of the place,
Mhm.
I mean, everyone's lovely too, at this event,
Oh.
but I think I just feel more like fitting, I guess, with the food crowd and
Yeah. I guess that's what we call ourselves, right? The food
theme.
growers, right?
Yeah, and the vibe of the place, because of the way it's displayed is very down to earth, it's very
Yep.
natural. It just feels really easygoing, family style. It's very warm to me, whereas the other one is very spectacular. It's big, it's dramatic, it's glamorous.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
beautiful in a very different way. It's just like, see, like, which direction do you lean more towards,
Yeah. Like Sherry says here, pilgrimage. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you,
Thank
Sherry.
you. Yeah.
We are not worthy. That's right. We're gonna get there. We're like, oh yes, please. That's right. Thank you, Sherry, so much. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's definitely my pilgrimage. It was for you. It's now more, you know, you don't have to go as far anymore now as like the rest of us, like myself, have to. But it's still, it's a pilgrimage. It's a place that we can make our way to and find so many great like-minded people in the food, gardening, and growing thing. Put on by Baker Creek. Who doesn't love Baker Creek when it comes down to it? So, you
Goodness.
know,
Please.
that's
I know it's like my favorite place to be. Like I'm so glad. I mean, not so glad, but in a way, it helped me out that the flower garden show, right? That they
Northwest
didn't
I
have
know,
a
I get
lot
that.
of
That's a
food.
long one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Northwest Flower and
yeah.
Garden
My brain is
Festival.
still partially asleep. Yeah, like it's just like I usually bring a suitcase, like a check-in, you know, a big one, just to see what I will find there. But
Yeah.
in a way, I'm glad that I didn't end up getting too many things. Like, don't get me wrong, the plants, everything they're fabulous, right? A lot of really gorgeous looking plants that I wish
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Mhm.
mind having, you know,
Mhm.
but I was okay to resist those temptations because they're not food. Um,
Yeah.
there are certain ones I would still like to pick up, but I
Yeah.
was like, okay, because I am also going to be going on a longer trip after this, so it would be really difficult to bring new plants home, you know, to
Yeah.
plant. So
Yeah.
like I had an easier time holding back. Whereas like the Heirloom Expo, oh my gosh,
Mm.
do you remember that one year? Who was? Oh, I'm trying to think what his name is. He was really nice. He was hanging out with like the Boogie Crew
Yeah.
that time. The one that's like from San Diego, and he drove out there with his truck. Do you remember him
Oh,
with the Moringa farm?
Moringa
He
Farm.
gave me a
I do
bottle
believe.
that like bought like a
I think
extractor,
I
like
do believe. I can't remember his
oil.
name either,
Yeah,
though.
me too. But super sweet guy, and he has family that lives close to me. And that year,
Yeah.
I flew out there, so that
Yeah.
means it wasn't easy to bring back plants, right? But then, oh, it was the
Mhm.
year when we made the video together. You were holding the
Yeah.
camera, and I was trying stuff. Yeah, so we ended up getting like I purchased so many plants. Some were like pretty big too. Like I
Yeah.
was getting ready with packaging materials to bring with my luggage, but it was still not enough to bring back. And luckily, we met him, and he's like, oh, well, I drove out here. I'm going to go down to San Diego. I'll be backtracking. I'll just drop off your plants along the way. So I kept
Yeah.
getting more and more plants because I was
Oh, and
like,
he dropped him off for you?
he did. We met up. We had
Perfect.
lunch.
Oh, and it worked out. That's amazing.
Oh, my
I
God,
do.
it
I
was
do remember. I think I do remember
he's
that
so
whole
yeah. He
you
goes there.
planning
He went
that
there
out.
every year.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know if I remember hearing back whether or not it actually worked out or not, but I think I do
It
remember you
did.
planning that out. I was like, "How do I get all these?" And he was like, "I'll take them there
And then
for you."
I was like, don't worry about it.
Yep.
Like the universe will align. He's
That's
like, something's
it,
gonna work out.
perfect.
So I just kept
Exactly.
getting more, and then we met him, and he offered that. I was like, "Are you serious?" I
Yeah.
guess he was, but I was willing to take the chance. So
Yeah.
I went and like I went and got more.
Yeah. I'm always driving, and whether I'm going there to the Heirloom in California, or I'm going up north to Seattle for the Flower and Garden Festival.
Mhm,
I'm, you know, the Seattle one, maybe I'm not bringing back as much, but I'm always trying to bring back as much as I can, you know,
mhm.
when it comes down to it. And which reminds me of something I've got to talk to you about, actually. But if let's see, if everybody sees right here,
I
if I
feel
can
like I
point,
know what you're asking me.
seeing this philodendron, and that's right here next to our screen. That I got from the last Seattle Northwest Flower and Garden Show,
Oh,
because they do
cool.
have a lot of really great vendors who
The
sell like house
anthurium
plants.
was so cool.
They
I
have
saw
one
one
big
of the
one. I
big
don't know if they were back again, but there
yeah,
was a big one like in the center that was just like
yes.
a massive
Oh, so
house
that's like a
plant
yearly
store.
thing? Yeah, I think I displayed on my in my Insta story because
Oh, yeah.
I love anthuriums, but this one was
Mm.
extremely big. The
Yeah,
leaves
yeah.
was like it's like plants. I love anthuriums because they remind me a lot of like Jurassic Park, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and here's
Uh,
another thing too. You want to talk about, like, for those who love like house plants or indoor plants, um, and are really into it and like to collect plants at all, that booth that I just mentioned that we're talking about right there. I mean, I saw rare plants in the like six, seven, $800 range for
yes.
one plant, because
Yeah.
that's how rare of plants that you can find there at this place. It's just
Yes.
amazing some of the cool
The
things that you can get there.
the variegated, just to start with, like,
Mhm.
in fact, I also did a post on that because the Thai constellation,
Oh,
Albo
good.
or Alba, those
Let's
variegated
do that.
monsteras,
Want them. I
they're
want
more
one.
rare, and like even yeah, exactly like that, but then with like white, right? Spots of white and yellowish
Yep,
cream color.
variegated.
I have a Thai constellation myself, and it's just it grows faster if you really put it in the ideal environment. But I kind of just, as long as it's like hanging on, okay, I guess I wasn't really pushing it. But yeah, during the COVID days, those prices really had gone up. A lot of people were only just like private sellers, and they were importing it to resell. People were selling them even as cuttings, like a unrooted cutting. Okay, it has like a node and a leaf, or a small leaf with a node, potential for rooting, and it could run from like $150 to $350. You're
Yeah.
taking that chance to root them, and now there are certain companies, I forget the name of, but they mass produce certain ones of those plants that people have mentioned that they have spotted even at like Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they cost like $40 a pot rather than like $200 a cutting, unrooted cutting.
Yeah.
So like this show, I did see some of those. The prices have went down, but it's still a crazy price, especially I think
Oh
coming
my.
from like a plant growing kind of
Yeah.
person. Like you're used to buying your seeds or plants that don't cost
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Well, that's the thing about indoor plants. And again, too,
they're
that's
exotic.
you
They
can do this right here, what you see. You can do this easily. This is
yeah,
this is budget house plant jungle, right? But
yeah.
the problem is that
Don't
when you
mind me.
do get into plants and you start enjoying collecting them and all that sort of stuff, then you get to shows like this and you see the types of rare plants. Like, I mean, I am in love with that Thai constellation. There are a few different monsteras
Yes.
of this variety.
Hmm.
Um, what is it, Delicosia, right?
I think so. I'm not
Yeah,
good with
Monstera
citing names. Sounds
delicosia,
right.
and then it would be the different variegated
Yep.
forms and
Yep.
spotted ones as well.
Spotted ones. I like
Yeah,
the constellation. I think I like the name of it more than anything. Just it
y-
sounds beautiful. It sounds
yeah,
very magical. The
exactly.
elbow was the one that has the most white on it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Goodness,
But I
I
just
think there's
love
a third
the
one, but
ones.
I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
and then I have this really cool looking, it's in a ginger family plant that has
Look
like,
up
it's
that.
variegated, and it's actually spiral. It's a spiral ginger. It's
Yeah.
technically edible, but it's more, I guess people use it as more ornamental, and it's gorgeous. The back side of it is a little bit fuzzy, like hairy, and
Right.
it grows up as a spiral, like spins up like that. Yeah, so I do like
Yeah.
collecting, like unique. I mean, I guess
But
generally I just like
that's when
finding
it
unique items, even
yeah,
house
but
plants.
that's when it can really, for indoor plants, can get expensive and spendy though.
Exactly.
Because that's,
I was trying to
I
limit myself, and I'm like, if you're gonna go away for a while, stop
yeah.
buying those kind of plants.
Ex Exactly. I, like everybody
Enjoy them for the
knows, if you
moment.
watch any of my videos or my regular outdoor food gardening and all of that, I am a budget gardener. I am a budget person. I live my life on a very slim budget. So I'm always
Yeah.
looking for how can
Well,
how can I really enjoy this stuff on a budget? And there's a ton out there for all of us to
there
enjoy.
is. You,
And it, you know what I mean? There's nothing
yeah.
collecting a whole bunch of just really great, inexpensive ones. And a lot of these ones started out as those little tiny ones. You know what I
All
mean?
plants are beautiful if
Just
you
a
take
couple
care of
little
them.
dollars, and then you grow them into big plants and take the time with them, and it can be
Well,
fun.
it's also,
So we don't
yeah,
need all of those cool ones, but it's hard when
they're
you get
nice for
to
the
shows like
exhibition.
that. Yeah, when you
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
shows like that, it's hard to look at them and go, man, I really wish I could have that. And then you look down at the price and go,
Like,
$700.
I think like how much
Holy moly.
soil, how many different seeds and plants I like that I can grow to like really
Yeah,
like eat like that's like the
yeah,
maximum way you can really connect with a plant. Just harvesting
right.
and enjoying the whole process of it's, yeah, it's just so much for one plant. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I do pick up some kind of more pricey plants than like usual for even edibles because
Right,
I
right.
like rare things,
The rare and
but
unique
it's
stuff,
not
yeah.
like that. It's not $800 for, because that can set up like a like 2 raised beds for me, you know what I mean? To grow a
Right.
lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. Yeah, lots of great stuff. And that's the thing about being such a big plant nerd when it comes down to it. I just love anything that really grows for the most part. And then that unique and fascinating stuff, or again, too, for those of us, again, budget house plants, my Monstera delicosia cost me
That
maybe
looks beautiful.
$25 back in the day when I bought it as a smaller plant,
Yeah. They're
and
very
now it's this big, beautiful
Mhm.
thing in my house and all of that. But again, like I said, when you're at these shows and you see an Alba or a Constellation or some of these other ones, the Delicosia varieties of these
Yeah.
Monsteras, which are huge, can get really huge. It's just, oh man, you just wish and dream.
I have the Thai constellation and I'm a little bit tempted to plant it in the garden.
Yeah, just like
But the
Thuzia's
problem is it would be
Right.
gorgeous, but it's going to take up so much room out of my little space. Like
Yeah.
it would be quite a statement piece, but then that just means it takes up some planting space for other things, other food.
Yeah.
But it would be great because the monstera would get big and beautiful, and there's like variegation, right, with
Yeah,
that
yeah.
variety. Yeah. So, but all
Could
plants.
you grow down there? And I know you see a bunch of them when and this is something I want to get into real quick before we let you go today.
Mhm.
But can you grow them in this Gunnera varieties in Southern California? I
Trying to think.
I know there's a lot of those different varieties of those in Vietnam. You're heading back to Vietnam here real
Mhm.
soon, right?
Mhm.
So I'm sure you'll see a
What
ton of those different things as well.
what variety?
The
I'm trying to.
big giant leaves, you know what I mean? These
Mm,
Gunneras that have
I
just
love.
huge
Yes.
giant leaves. There's a ton of different varieties of
Yeah.
Gunnera. There's tiny little ones. There's
Yep.
all different. I'm talking about like those big giant leafed ones.
Yeah. I think indoors we can.
Yeah.
Because it does, a lot of like basically what we call indoor plants, even the ones all around you, they're basically
Yeah.
tropical plants. We call them house plants because
Outdoors there,
that's
right?
where we can grow them.
Exactly.
Yeah, but those are really cool. I do love like plant. I don't know, something about those giant leaves reminds me of like, is it
Yeah.
Thumbelina or
Right.
actually like
Exactly.
rests on it, or it's like uses as like
Exactly.
a umbrella.
I
It's
know,
very
huh?
whimsical, very
Yeah.
fairy like. Yeah, so I love all those. Even the one I'm thinking of, something that gives me that sort of vibe would be a taro plant that you can
The
grow
taros,
outside.
yep,
Taro,
exactly.
some
Yep.
taros can get really big, and I do have one that's called Mickey Mouse ears or something. Mickey Mouse. It's
Mm,
variegated, and it has a little bit of a unique shape, like a more like with the
yeah.
ear kind of corners. So
Yeah.
something like that. So taro plants would
Taro's a
be
good one.
my substitute.
Another variety of plant I don't have one anymore, but it used to grow a few years back. I had one,
What's
and
that?
it was a discovery for me when I first came down to LA there. That
Oh,
grows really well. It's all over LA, but it's also a common house plant for a lot of other people, like one of the bigger leaf kind of house plants, and that's bird of paradise.
mm,
You guys have tons of bird of paradise all over LA. It's got these beautiful flowers, but as a house plant, it is very hard to get it to flower as a
it
house
loves
plant.
sun. Birds of
Yeah, yeah,
paradise. It
yeah.
it's one that like is super drought tolerant and
Hmm. Yeah.
clumping.
It makes a
Very
great
very
house plant.
hardy.
Makes a great house plant. It's got the cool big leaves that unfurl,
Mm.
so it's really great. It's just that was the big discovery for me because I went down to Los Angeles and saw all these beautiful flowers and they look really weird. They got this cool little
They look like a
pointiness to
crane.
them,
They look like
like
a
a crane.
crane.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
bird of paradise, right?
This
It's
cool like
very
red,
geometric.
orange.
Very, in a way, it reminds me so much of like what
Hmm.
Japanese, like you can do some kind of like a Japanese, like
Yeah.
decor with, just because of it's probably
Exactly,
like
or in some,
the
like,
crane.
art even, looks like it just it fits in that kinda decor and art for sure.
Yeah. That plant, even surprisingly, like when I was in Vietnam, or I think places like in Thailand, they kind of have those, and it's almost like a prize, like plant. Like, but for
Really?
me, like for me, it's Southern California.
Just
It
so
grows so
common for
well. It's
you.
so common. Yeah, like you can easily move into a house and they have that growing for like 20 years. Like this big giant clump of it that people don't even clean up. But once you clean it up and there's like the flowers, Like
Yeah.
zoom into the flowers because there's a lot more leaves than flowers. But when you zoom into the flower or just cut that flower
Yeah.
to display, it does have a very exotic look to it. It's very,
It's great.
yeah.
I know I got some video clips from back in one of my previous trips to Los Angeles or something like that of those. I mean, it's just, again, to me, it's just
That
I'm
and the
sure, like I
palm.
said, for you, it's common. You see it all the
Yeah.
time. But for
Yeah.
visitors
It's like
who
the
go to
ones
the
I
area,
had a
it's
hard
like,
time
wow,
getting
that
rid
is
of.
really beautiful. That is really interesting. I kind
It
of got
is.
in there. I did all
It
this
is still
video and
interesting,
I was
actually.
looking at it. Yeah. And
Mhm.
then here's the thing, Wendy, though, is that it wasn't until later because I didn't know what the name of the plant was. I come back with this video clips of it because I thought it was cool. So I'm editing and doing that. So I get online to go and look, what is this flower that I see all over Los Angeles? It's really beautiful. And I got on and looked it up and it said bird of paradise. And I'm like, what? That's
Yeah.
and I was like, I had the plant in my house that I never
Oh,
knew because
yeah.
it's so hard to get those to flower as an indoor plant. You know what I mean?
Because they love
And
sun. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And let's see here. Rick from Australia says that
Hey, Rick.
birds of paradise usually grow outside in Australia as well too. So
Exactly. I would
they got a
assume
lot of
that.
those over there as
Yeah.
well.
We have
Yeah.
similar climate. Yep. Yep. Yeah. What is really cool, I think, bird of paradise, you usually see it more like a modern,
Yeah.
home flourishing kind of like a display for that kind of style. Because it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doesn't have that traditional geometric or symmetry, to
Exactly.
like a flower or a rose
It
or a
looks like
tulip.
like you said, like a bird head or a crane almost.
Exactly.
Almost
Two
like
little
a bird
feathers.
sitting on a
Yeah.
plant or a bunch of different
It's
birds on a
actually the
plant if you get a
entire beak
grouping.
of the head to
Yeah, like
me. Like
yeah,
the
the beak.
neck is where the stem is. It sticks out as
Yeah.
like beak, and then the two really colorful feathers, because those
Yeah.
feathers are very
So if
striking. Like there's
so
a
if you're at a
blue,
distance
green,
enough of a
yellow
distance, you would look and see it
streaks.
look like a group of birds sitting inside a
It's
plant or
very
something.
cool. Like
Yeah.
having a very minimal uh,
Yeah.
decor, display of that in like a
Yeah. Sherry
simple,
says
like flat
bird
plate. Beautiful.
yeah. Sherry says
Bird.
birds of
Yeah.
paradise are often used in how do you pronounce that? Ikebana?
Exactly. Akibana.
Ikebana?
Yeah.
Yeah, Japanese
Yeah.
flower arranging.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
It's another form of art. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, they're really
Akibana.
beautiful plants. But yeah, that was one of those ones where, like I said, it was an interesting, fun discovery for me because I was fascinated with these plants in this visit, one of my first visits down there. And then to come back home and to know that I'd had that plant all along right in my own living room was just really interesting. Because I could never get it to flower. So yeah. So
So do you still
and
have it? You can move it outside if you still have it.
no, man, that thing I just again, it was just
I
one
don't
of
know how
the
cold it gets
it
too
was
cold there,
here's the
but
thing though, it was a rescue plant that I got from
oh.
someone else, and my efforts couldn't bring it back. So
Oh, okay. Well, you can try to
I did get to
dig
get
part of a
one
clump
good
up.
it was a pretty good size. It was an okay leaf. I did get to get the one to go, and no matter what I did, I tried to wet it. I tried to do I took all these tactics to try to get the other one to kind of grow
Oh.
more or try to open up anymore, and it just wouldn't. And then it just eventually just shriveled and dried, and then the plant just from the roots just something, I don't know what happened to it. I'm thinking it might have been fungal, and it
Yeah.
was already just done before I even got it. Is probably what I was thinking. Again,
Possibly
this was a few years
again
back
next time
when
when
I
you're
had
out in
that.
LA, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
You
want to
can
get
easily
another
spot
one.
yeah. But they can
Yeah.
just dig up part of the plant for you or
Yeah, I'll just dig one up out of someone's place down in LA because, like you said, they're so common.
Well, you
down
just,
there.
like, would you like to prune it? It looks like your plant needs a little bit of like just cutting in a little bit to make the plant a little smaller because they clump up. That's how they grow, Get a
Yeah,
shovel.
yeah, just like a lot of other clumping
Offer
things,
free pruning.
hostas and different bulbing things
Hostas.
as
Oh
well
my
too.
God.
That
Yeah.
yeah,
Hosta is one of those like California dream gardens
yeah.
because it's harder for us to grow those. Yeah.
Yeah, I did put a hosta in some pretty hostile soil, I guess you would say, for it in a sense, and
Cool.
it only
It's
grows
that like
so
rich.
much, it really
Yeah.
only grows so much each year, just a little bunch of it. So because it doesn't like the soil it's in or the whatever it is, so it's not multiplying, it's not spreading, it's not doing what most hostas would do. I do plan on moving it though. We got some plans for that space this year, so I can't wait to see what
Okay.
I can't wait to see. It's kind of an experiment if I put it somewhere else or put it in some more favorable conditions, if after all these years it's been in this spot, that it'll just start to flourish and blow up.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah, I
great to
would.
see, because it's been stunted for so many years in this little spot.
Yeah, it's time to change it up and see if it likes this new home.
Jersey Girl says, I got hostas everywhere.
I was looking into growing hostas in this location because there's so much, like, what do you say, like dark corners,
Right.
And they're somewhat different, like, of all sizes, which really giant leaves, some with really bright colors to really help brighten up a corner. And I wonder how it'll do here. I got one, I think, clumps of it, and then I forgot what happened. I think I haven't found the space for them, and they stayed in a pot for too long. But they also don't go dormant in the winter, and then you don't label them, you might lose track of like where your pot is. Yeah, but hostas are cool because they're edible too.
Yeah, you want to know? Here's another kind of like almost, strategy for folks who might deal with slugs or snails a lot. They love hostas. They love them.
Would
They
put copper around
hostas.
it too?
No, here's the thing. Use them as trap plants.
Instead
If you're growing, maybe put some in some, because again, too, depending on where you're growing, you don't want to put them into the ground. You don't really want to put them in the ground. Put them in a container that maybe you can kind of stick into the ground just a little bit, so they're contained into a container.
Yeah.
And again, too, you don't have to worry about having holes on the bottom, because they're not going to spread that way. So you can put them in a container, kind of put them down so they get a little bit lower to the ground. So kind of dig them in the container into the ground or something. So like a good clay pot, would work well for this sort of thing. And then put some different varieties of hostas in different areas where you're having slug issues. Get them to go after your hostas instead of your food.
But you can eat the hosta too. My hostas are so beautiful. I know, but I mean, trap crop is it's actually quite like a smart way, like another approach, right? Like instead of
exactly.
Like you can't really stop them from coming. You might as well just welcome them, but just saying, "Hey, this is yours. Just go at this one," leave the others alone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Except I like hostas. I want them to be.
I know.
I want them to
That's
be.
That's why you do plenty of them, and you have many of them all over. So wherever it's the trap plant, it's just let it be the trap plant. And then you'll have other ones that'll go there, and then again.
So luckily, it's not crazy wet here. Yeah. So I don't.
Yeah.
So luckily, I don't have a big issue. I do see the slugs outside sometimes. They damage plants, but it's not too bad.
Have you ever grown lupines?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think these are the ones that are kind of like a cool straight up and got all the different little bellflowers that kind of go down, right?
Yep. I tried them growing from seed, and
I know there's some wild lupines.
I went on a hike.
Alaska has these purple ones that are amazing, actually.
They're beautiful. Yeah, we have them wild here too. They're close by nearby mountains. They're beautiful.
Yeah. Bowtie says,
I would like to put that in the garden again. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done it from seed or thought of it in a sense. I have seen like seed packets and stuff, but I've never really. They would be great to like get going. I've never done it from seed myself, but they are beautiful flowers.
They are gorgeous.
They would look cool in like a cool if you were to grow like your own cut flowers.
Exactly.
They put in like a cut flower arrangement or something.
Cottage gardens, yeah.
Yeah. Bowtie, you need some loofah seed, Wendi. Bowtie grew a loofah this year in his Florida garden, and it took over his garden everywhere. And now he says he has about 45,500 loofah seeds. Anybody needs loofah seed, go get a hold of Bowtie Life in the Garden.
Sure.
He'll get you taken care of.
Crazy.
Freebird asks,
you can always
all
pick great
hostas edible?
Are all hostas? I'm not sure.
All hostas
I assume
edible?
so, but I don't know that.
Yeah, this is something. Yeah,
I
don't
read
take
that
my word
hostas
for
are
it.
edible, and I've tried them, but I didn't try
But
that
there
many
are some
varieties.
times when some varieties of things that are mostly edible do
Yeah.
have certain varieties that
Mhm.
of their
Yeah.
species or whatever that aren't edible as well, right?
Right.
So that can
Hostas
happen.
specifically? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, in plants in general,
Oh, I
some
see.
yeah. So some
There's
plants
also
in
like how
general.
much the quantity that you eat as well.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a big thing that when we talk about a lot of stuff is in edibility too, is
Mhm.
kind of there's a range from like it's just bitter on your tongue to it's gonna upset your stomach a little bit to yeah, you're gonna get a little wrenching maybe to oh no, you're probably gonna have some issues that you're gonna have to deal
Yeah,
with
like in the tropics,
to
there's
you're
a
gonna be puking your guts out to, next thing you know, you might need to seek medical attention to, that thing could actually kill you, leave it alone. So
yes.
there is this whole range of things of how things can affect you when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jay actually says this here. Listen, Jay says, yes, hostas are edible and the whole plant can be eaten. Hostas are part of the Asperaceae family.
Mm.
I don't even, again, too. Don't worry
Okay.
if you can say those properly. I think we got it close enough. Which also includes asparagus, agave,
Exactly. I'm like,
and
I see
yucca.
asparagus in that word, so I think it's okay.
Yep, yeah. Just like Jay says, always double check your research.
Yucca, that's awesome. And
Yeah, yeah.
agave. Yeah, they're all
You
edible
don't want to end
varieties.
up somewhere listening to somebody online telling you everything's okay.
Do your own research.
That's right. That's right.
Depends who you trust more sometimes.
Yep, yep. And Jersey Girl also says another thing that really loves hostas too,
Which
deer.
one?
So if you live
Oh,
anywhere where
dear, okay.
deer are yeah, they're going to go after that as well too. Again, they spread and multiply and everything. I suppose if you lived in a place somewhere, what you could do is create like the most massive like hosta and maybe anything else that deers don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or deer. I said deers. That's so funny. That deer
We
don't like, but create like a living fence around your garden with hostas and garlic and all sorts of different things that deer don't like and whatever, or do like. You know what I mean? So
Oh
give
yeah,
them some
just
stuff that they
no.
can eat, some things they don't like, and just kind of have a little thing that'll take their attention away from the rest of the things you grow.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to
Yeah.
work. It's probably not going to work when it comes to deer. They can jump 10 feet fences, so
Just enjoy
they can
the show.
run. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So sorry to all of you who have to deal with deer or any of
Bears
the
and
other
bunnies.
yeah, yeah, any of the
Yeah.
type of diggers.
Fox.
Those diggers are just too much.
Yeah.
I'm so for that's the one thing I'm so glad I am an urban city gardener, right? There's a lot of less of that sort of stuff. I don't got to deal with
Sure,
deer.
yeah.
I don't got to deal with well, for the most part, moles and groundhogs and all of
I
these other
know. The
things that
underground
these
one are
poor
such
under
a
gardeners got
pain.
to
Like,
deal with. I get
yeah,
plenty of pests, though. We still get plenty of pests. Right on.
everywhere.
Anyways, here we are. Again, I'm just talking away. We're going on and on and
Yeah.
on right now. I'm
I
gonna
was
let you
gonna
go
say,
here,
well,
Wendy,
yeah,
when it comes down to it. Real quick
yeah,
though,
I love to chat
just
some
wanted
more,
to
but
ask you before I let you go real quick. We did mention you are off to Vietnam here real soon, right? So whole
yeah.
nother trip, right?
Mhm.
How long are you gonna be gone this time?
Not as long as last time. It depends. Not sure yet, but
Yeah.
definitely for a month.
You got any big plans for some videos this time? You gonna do something?
Yeah, I'm gonna be making
Mhm.
videos. I'm super excited
Excellent.
to go
Perfect.
visit some sites and been looking at more farms that I could
Yeah.
visit. And yeah,
Yeah.
food
You have to I
spots.
don't know about how the time works from Vietnam to the time during the day or whatever, but maybe you should do a live stream or something. Find a
I
way to do
do
that.
plan on at least trying to do it once when I'm there. It is gonna be like probably like
Mhm.
2 because I when I'm doing the Great Grow Along session when I hop on live,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
like 3 AM for me, something like that.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
something like that. So it would be a very odd time for me to in order to, have everyone be able to most people can make it.
Yeah.
But the other thing
That
is
would be fun.
I also have to kind of plan to see where I'm at because the
Mhm.
connection might be very difficult, especially if I'm traveling
Exactly.
in more like rural areas and more with nature. It's definitely going to be yeah, as much as like
Right.
I love to share in the moments, but to actually be realistic about it, sometimes like, yeah, even sitting in here, I have a connection issue, so it's
Right.
might be difficult. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but when I
Give it
know
a
that I
shot
am,
though, that's one of the things I think people have been really enjoying. I think everyone here on our channel and our show have also been enjoying your live streams. I like you get them going
yeah,
just a little bit after we finish up with ours
yeah,
here, so I can send everybody. I usually try to make sure I send everybody over to your live stream after we finish up our
appreciate
show.
that.
So we've
Yeah,
all been enjoying that as well too. So it'd be kind of fun to see something like that happening. Plus, again, too, you do have a couple of these kind of online summits you're doing. Great
mhm,
Grow Along.
mhm.
Are you doing as well too? I think there's Audrey's Little Farm. I think we have her on tomorrow.
Okay,
She's
oh,
doing a little summit as well too.
cool. Yeah, no, I'm doing the
So that's kind of the season we're in right now. We're getting ready for
yeah,
all of our garden
hyping you up
shows,
to
online garden
grow. Yeah,
summits. But yeah, so again, too, I'm gonna try to make sure because I didn't get it set up. We were doing all this last minute. So as soon as I'm finished here, I'm gonna put in the link in the description for everybody. I know Jay's probably put a link in the conversation for Wendy's channel. So go click the Wendy's channel if you haven't subscribed already to Wendy. Catch some of that sort of stuff going on, and maybe Jay, we can put a link for the Great Grow Along as well too in there for everybody else as well. Is that free? That's
oh, quick
free.
grow along. Yes, during the first yes, when
The
it's
first one, the
going. That
live week,
the
first
live
week of
week
it. Yeah.
is free. After that, it's a subscription based, yeah, for the year, and
Excellent,
you'll have
excellent. So
access
yeah,
to the entire year.
exactly.
Mhm.
So awesome. Yeah, I just seen
So
Jay
many
just put
great
your
speakers.
channel link there too. So maybe Jay will put a link for the Great Grow Along as well
Mhm.
too. So if anybody wants to check out
Awesome.
that free gardening summit, check out Wendy's deal. You're gonna be doing that from Vietnam as well.
Yes, I
Oh,
think
so
it's
that'll be
on
fun.
like March 20th. No, March 2nd or something. I'm on the earlier part this year for like so I forget exact name, but I think it's March 2nd, something like that. So it's getting close. So
Getting close,
I'll
getting
be doing
close.
the F and what do you I can't even say frequent FAQs over there from
FAQs.
Vietnam. Uh, sometimes I
Yeah.
for the shortcuts.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well,
But,
perfect. That's going to be great. I look
thank
forward to
you,
checking that
Paul.
out
Excited
as
to
well
get
too.
some more
Thank you
content.
so much for jumping on today to talk with us a
Yeah.
little bit about the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. It was really great. Uh, um, a great show. Really wish I could have met up with you there, but again,
There's
too,
always
we'll see. We'll see
here.
each other soon. I'm sure
Yeah.
sometime this year. Hopefully before the Heirloom Exposition, but we'll see you
I'm
again
like, yeah,
soon.
heirloom for sure, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
Either
the
in
world.
person or right here on the show again. Again, you're a good friend to us here on the Let's Get Growing show. It's always great to have you, Wendy.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much
Thank
for
you. Thank you.
being here
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
us.
Well, until
And
then.
I'll talk to you real soon too. I've got an idea I want to talk to you about too as well. So I'll get with
Okay.
you real soon about
Great.
that as well. So right on. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible feature visits. All right, everybody. We've had such a great show. Pardon all the interruptions earlier and technical issues, but ultimately we ended up with a really good show, and we got to talk with Mark and get a great little video clip. And like I told everybody earlier, for those of you who've joined in with us later in the show and didn't get to see Mark's segment that he did from the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, what I'll do is I'll end the show with that for you all. I know this is a more extended. We're into basically after our second hour and all of that sort of stuff. But in the long run, it's hard to break away from some good, fun conversations I hope you're all enjoying the conversations as well too, and as well too. So again, like I said, it's always great to be able to hang out with all of you guys here and talk all about gardening and talk about all these fun events and all of that sort of stuff. That we've got going on and as well too there. So right on, right on. I do want to mention too what we got coming up here on the show. But first, let's talk about what we had on the show because we were just getting things going. I didn't really do our beginning of the show rundown, so we'll run it all down right here as we're finishing up the show here today. Last week on the show, we had with us our good friend Greg Peterson from the Urban Farm, the urbanfarm.org Urban Farm podcast. Greg joined with us on the show. A great conversation with him. Last weekend was we were kind of on a seed theme last week. It ended up being ultimately because Greg actually kind of jumped in a little bit last minute as well too to join with us last week. But we talked all about something that him and his organization in Phoenix that has been doing this really cool public event doing seeds called the Great American Seed Up. And this is an event that they've been doing, like I said, down in Phoenix, Arizona for many, many years. But Greg and the organizers decided, what can we do after learning some things out of COVID and just not being able to gather socially and all that sort of stuff. So they came up with the idea of the Great American Seed Up in a box. And so since they started doing that, then they decided, well, let's open that up to the rest of the country. Let's open it up out to everybody else as well too. It's a great, awesome, unique idea. I really encourage you to go back, learn more about that. I'm probably going to talk about this just a little bit more too, because I really, really like this idea about what they're doing there with the Great American Seed Up. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us out there to really find ways to either create our own localized seed banks in a way, or also great ways to get seeds out to other gardeners, and especially getting and having seeds when maybe, who knows, something happens like what happened during the pandemic. We talked a little bit about that, how, all the major seed companies basically got shut down because everybody bought their inventories out just like that. Because, when certain things happen and to the market and all of that, people go and buy and take them all up. And so there was a big, huge seed shortage. And we can utilize the Great American Seed Up and their seed up boxes in order to kind of, be prepared for any sort of sense of seed shortages that could possibly happen in the future. It's a great idea. So this seed box idea that they came up with, it's not other companies don't do this. This is a very unique thing that they're offering. We're the very first affiliate. That's how new it is. So again, I'll try to make sure, and I think what I'm going to try to do is make sure we'll just put a link and make sure that's going to be in all of our show descriptions going forward as we move forward. Because again, you'll hear me talk about this just more and more. I really think it's a great idea. I'm going to talk with him and maybe we can get one of those boxes or something like that so that we can show it to you all here in the show and to show you kind of exactly what we're talking about. He did show us a little bit about it and got a really good idea of what it is. So go back and check that out last week. We did also get to talk to a couple of weeks ago. I also want to mention to everybody, it is still February. A couple of weeks back, we had our sponsor on from Ivy Organics. They are doing still right now. It's just the last few days. We're in the last week or so. It's the 8th annual free fig cutting giveaway over at Ivy Organics. There is a link down below to that. Go shop in the ivyorganics.com. Be sure to use our promo code GROW10, GROW10. If you buy anything there, go get some of that. This is a great time. February, great time to go stock up on some of that 3-in-1 plant guard. What I say is an essential for your garden shed. Make sure you have some of that stocked up. Go buy some here now because you can go and get and pick out some cool, unique fig varieties. They're giving away free fig cuttings, and you can get some fig varieties growing in your garden this year with Ivy Organics, free fig cutting giveaway. Go and check that all out and everything. And then again, too, like we talked about, coming up this month, we're highlighting for our Book of the Month Club is the Climate Change Resilient Vegetable Garden by Kim Stoddard. You got to see her in the background just a little bit earlier when Mark was live with us, but we'll have Kim with us live here on the show this March coming up for our monthly gardening book club. So definitely mark your calendar for that and join with us for that live conversation. And coming up here too in just this next week, it's going to be March 1st, and we're going to be so fortunate to be joining with us, Charles Dowding, the no-dig gardening guru. Charles Dowding is going to be joining with us live here on the show next week, as well as in the garden with Ellie and Kate from up in Scotland as well too. So we're going to be up in the UK next week and get a bunch of great gardening conversation, talk all about no-dig gardening with Charles Dowdy next week. That's going to be really fun. So again, I hope you all join with us. And before we take off here, hit that like button, click the thumbs up, as well as subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams, like our upcoming book club, and share with all of your garden friends. Let them know in your garden clubs and all of those garden groups you're involved in out there. Share with everybody. Drop them some links to our shows. Maybe go share with somebody out there one of your favorite shows. Maybe we've had one of your favorite gardeners on our show, and maybe go share that with one of your friends out there. Help us get the word out about the Let's Get Growing show. And we're here every Saturday and Sunday, like I said, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And again, thank you all so much for being here. Follow all of the links down in the description below. Oh, so much going on today. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I really look forward to, and that's okay. I guess real quick, tomorrow, we got tomorrow on the show. Tomorrow is actually, I didn't get it set up. I don't have a thumbnail up for it, but Jennifer Neubauer, she was supposed to be on with us last week with Greg. We're going to have her on tomorrow for the Sunday edition of the show. Jennifer Neubauer is going to join with us for the conversation, as well as I did touch on there with Wendy as well too. It's Garden Online Summit time right now. There is the Spring Gardening Summit done by Audrey's Little Farm. Audrey's going to join with us as well tomorrow too, to talk all about that gardening summit. We have a couple of folks who are in that gardening summit who've been on our show, so we'll talk with her about all of that as well too. So definitely come and join with us on the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show, and we'll have just as much fun as we did today, tomorrow, on what are really kind of some last minute thrown together shows, because like I said, I was supposed to be at the Northwest Flower and Garden show this weekend, but we're making some fun things happening here on the Let's Get Growing show anyways. And again, so much fun hanging out with all of you today. Again, I hope to see, I say again a lot, don't I? I'm sorry. There's so much to talk about. I could talk all day long. I could probably hang out with you guys another hour, but I got some other things to do. I got a show to plan tomorrow. So I'll see all of you then. Wait a minute. Sorry, guys. Tease. Wait a minute, real quick. I did promise all of you guys out there that I would play Mark's segment. So before I run the end credits, everybody, if you want to stick around, here's Mark's segment exploring the Northwest Flower and Garden show with NBC. One more time. I'll see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, this is Marc Boucher-Colbert. I'm here as Urban Ag Solutions and with the Urban Gardener here at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. Here's their kind of selfie background, but this year it's kind of weird. It's kind of like this plastic room. I don't totally get it, but here I am. I am proving that I am at the show with this background, and let's go on inside and see what we got going on. I wish I could communicate the smells to you, because that's really one of the most powerful parts of going in the show at first. And literally like a couple of weeks ago, I was having like floral hallucinations as I anticipated the show. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna have those great smells as I go in. Sorry, you can't have them. You can if you come to the show. I guess that's what you gotta do, right? All right, we'll go inside and we'll see what's going on in there. Hey guys, so I just got into the show. This is the amazing world that greets you. Huge displays. Yes, full towering trees. There's a totem pole there. All kinds of lodges. I mean, enormous rocks. This place at the Seattle Convention Center sees literally tons of materials moved in. Apparently the creators of these amazing display gardens in the main space have about 4 days when they can move stuff in with forklifts and trucks and cranes even, I've heard. Literally there's gigantic rocks. Some creators make waterfalls. They're building full-on buildings in here. It's just amazing. And so this display garden is really one of the reasons why I always come. It's so amazing to see the creativity in here. I'm gonna wander around tomorrow live on the Urban Gardeners. Let's Get Growing. So hopefully you'll catch a little of that, but we'll do a few highlights now. Hey guys, here at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, one of the things I enjoy the most are the vendor booths, when you can go around and just take advantage of a wide range of garden related products. Some are art, some are, you know, $30,000 greenhouses, garden tools, all kinds of stuff. I have brought, oh my God, I'm gonna flash the cash. I brought $300, so I'm gonna get to have some fun. I'm here for 3 days, so the way I usually do it is I cruise the booths for a day or two, and then I swoop down on Sunday, the last day of the show, when I have my car here. So there's plants to buy, there's tools to buy. I'm gonna have a hard time restraining myself, but I've got that fixed limit of $300, so I'm good. Not gonna go beyond that. I promise, promise, promise. So one of the things the show has been adding more is some live music. So this is really fun to be in these amazing garden settings. And here's a little trio, kind of classical, different regional music. These guys sound a little Argentinian right now. This is fun to be in this beautiful environment with live music going on. I'm here at the show, Marc Boucher-Colbert. Here is Abby from Brightscape Design, or Brightscape
Landscape Company.
Thank you for clarifying that. So she installed this beautiful display here, and let's just get a few details of what this is about. When did you start? This was bare floor on what day?
Yeah, on Saturday morning. We got here at 11 a.m. That was our load-in time.
Okay.
And there was nothing here except a chalk line.
Chalk line.
Of where we could work.
How big is the space?
This one's 25 by 30.
25 by 30, okay.
So not very big, but it looks pretty big.
And look at, yeah, right, so completely flat. You built it up, built the wall. Tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, so the secret to the whole thing is that there are a bunch of stacked pallets under all of it.
Okay,
so
right.
We've got,
these are the tricks of the trade,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's a stacked platform of pallets up here and over here. And then thank God for forklifts and bucket loaders, because they're buzzing around the floor all weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Bringing in these gigantic 22-foot tall trees.
What do we have here?
This is a salix. This is a weeping willow.
Wow, that's 22 feet tall.
Yeah, and the root ball is right about here at my hip.
Okay.
So it was a beast to get in here, but so once we get all the framing built, it's not going to pass any code inspections. But once we get the basic structure built, then fortunately there are huge mountains of mulch and sawdust across the way.
Wow.
And they bring them over here to us in bucket truck loaders, a dump at a time. And we just kind of shovel it in there.
Did you mock this out anywhere in any warehouse space or something, or did you? This is the first time it's ever been done.
Kate gave us a drawing.
Yeah.
And that's what we went with.
That is fascinating. So you get in on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I heard there's judging on Tuesday.
Tuesday at noon is judging, so we had till about 11 to hurry around and fuss and wash and tidy up everything. And
right.
That's it.
And then the show opens on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you
been a
for
bum rush.
That's a fascinating process. Thanks for detailing it for us.
For sure. Nice to
Okay.
meet you.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, so I'm here at one of the display gardens. I'm going to show you this really cool wall system called Gabion that uses some kind of a metal cage and puts stones in it, forms a great retaining wall. Here we have a beautiful little succulent garden that's sitting on top of that. Look at how beautiful that is. These are old milk crates. Just love this kind of stuff at the show. You get a lot of these really cool little construction details. So that's one of the things that keeps me coming back to this show. Here I am at the booth of Owen's Gardens, which specializes in tillandsias, these air plants, all kinds. You know, there's so many booths of people selling plants and so many specialists. There's carnivorous plants, well, these aren't plants, but there's all kinds of fungi kits. Then there's, things like this. There's orchids. There's just everybody's selling plants there. Of course, this is the Seattle Flower and Garden Show. So all kinds of plants, including all these specialized selections. Probably hard to find anywhere else, and there's always a show special. That's the cool thing. So even if you could find them somewhere else, you'll probably get them cheaper here. So one of the fun things about the show is these little mini exhibits that are in this beautiful atrium space here that spans a couple of the exhibition halls, and actually I think goes over Pike Street in Seattle down below. So anyway, this is a cute one. What's it called? Birds City Migration. So it's got some original art. It's got some artistic little birds suspended. These are sort of like little vignette gardens. They're more like 5x10s, little outdoor spaces. So as you pass through from one exhibit hall to the next, each side is lined with these little vignette gardens or little mini story gardens here. They just have one little theme and mostly like outdoor living, something about outdoor living. They're cute, they're inspiring, they're fun. Books and gardening, what would we be without our books? Certainly Enoch and I are bully on books because we have our monthly garden book group. But I love coming down here, wandering down in the bookstore that's just outside of the conference rooms. Oftentimes they'll have authors come out and do book signings of a book that they've just been talking about. And then it's just a great place to browse around, get some new ideas, to lighten your wallet a little bit, but to increase the weight of your learning. Both are simultaneously true. Anyway, the bookstore, there's a couple of different booksellers here at the show, and I just love visiting them all, and I always patronize them to some extent or other. It's great. There's never enough knowledge, right? There's never enough books. Guys, I'm down in the lower level of the Seattle Convention Center. This is where all the brainy work happens. See these big rosters? These list ongoing, sometimes concurrent sets of talks in 3 different rooms that are happening all day by various experts in plant science, everything from plant science, landscape design, flower arranging, anything garden related. So these are people who have usually written a book or have some expertise in their field. Let's just walk into the room right now where I think one's going on. This is the Rainier room. Well, actually it's not going on, but literally can seat hundreds. Every once in a while, a speaker, 1 or 2 speakers can fill a whole room like this. But often there's hundreds of people in here just listening to some aspect of design. And pardon me, you can come in here for like the 5-day show costs something like $80. You could literally take classes all day and it would be like you'd been to a university all in 5 days. So it's just one of the truly amazing parts of the show. Highly recommended. Get down here and learn something.